evening. Hello. Welcome to the show. Hello. Good evening. I am David Sponheim, and we are getting started with Truth Tuesday. This is a process in which you can visit our website, americasthirdparty.com, or check us out on Twitter at Third Party. You can also write my name in the upcoming election, David Sponheim. Let me see if I can improve the color behind that, make it a little bit greener. Truth Tuesday, yeah. We are different than the other two parties. We're a centrist party, and we're dedicated to be in the middle of the political spectrum and find common ground in all areas of discussion, something that we're trying to achieve on a nightly basis. So, hey there. We're doing shows every night, yeah. This is our Truth Tuesday, not Tooth Tuesday. The shows that we do are similar, admittedly, but we bring in all kinds of new and unusual links daily. Like this one right here. The FBI seeks to keep its nationwide biometric database a secret from citizens. Now, it's true that the government is breaching our privacy, and nobody in our two parties are actually doing anything to stop that. Hillary and Donald seem to be both okay with privacy NSA breaches all over the place. He's never even come out against it. Neither has Hillary. So there's a strong reason to get behind a third party simply because you want your privacy back. You don't want to be constantly surveyed by the government for no reason. It's never the same stuff every night. We talk about different subjects. I may have a similar format, but you got to understand this is a long-term process. Now, let me tell you what I've achieved so far. And you may say, nothing. We actually have achieved something. 7 years ago, when we first started this, I recognized that it was almost impossible to get known, that the media would censor every single press release we put out. We even had one of our supporters at the time lived five doors down from Sean Hannity and dropped all of our press stuff off in his lap. And Sean Hannity didn't take it to Fox when he was working at Fox. He didn't even bother with us. So nobody wants to take on a real third party, but there's a lot of people now that want to fake a third party. And they're having some sort of an RT get together. There's a big thing where third party candidates are going to have a debate. I'm not invited because I'm not a millionaire. And the reason why the American people are being cut out across the board in third party land is because the Illuminati wants to control their fake third party. That's the bottom line. So what we've done over the past 7 years is really breaking through ground, and all the censorship that's out there is still holding in place, but we're reaching a world audience now. We're reaching perhaps as many as 2 million people a night with our show being rebroadcast around the globe. And this breakthrough that we have finally achieved after 7 years, mind you, of constant shows, relentlessly, persistently, doing a show 3 to 4 hours a night, sometimes 5, and even as many as 10 hours a day when I first started this whole campaign for 50 days before Barack Obama was elected. This commitment to transparency with the American people is something you won't get from the joker, Hillary. She won't even release her emails. She won't even have any discussion about one of the most disturbing events of the past few years, Benghazi. So this is the opposite of the two parties. We will be able to communicate with you. And I'm not in any way part of a secret society, I assure you. I've never been in any way funded by AIPAC, like Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are getting funded by AIPAC, the pro-Zionist group. We should have 24-hour shows, but bear in mind, we've got a lot of stuff that we play all the way into the evening. So after, nobody's the real third-party candidate, no. I'm just as much as a third-party candidate as any other person out there. I don't game at all. I'm not gaming. My thing is, I had to focus on the campaign. I did a year of gaming, and we weren't getting a lot of success out of the Twitch network. It was a disaster. We had nothing but problems with it. So we backed out of that. You rebroadcast in China on live stream, and you have 40,000 viewers. Wow, 685. Thank you for telling me that. That's awesome. Well, at least we're giving you content. And I'm trying to convey that there is a bright future ahead, but it's a glimmer. It's a small glimmer. And it's, as you get closer to that bright future of a third party, we'll be able to rectify the mistakes of the two parties, not all of them, of course, but many of them, and begin to repair the economy in America. So we won't have to go around outsourcing jobs around the world and exploiting labor in countries. And we can help nourish the economies of other nations by trading with them and doing more of an open trade toward a greater goal, which would be improving the environment. At the center of our focus is making new technologies that will actually improve the environment, because I think everybody on the planet is getting very concerned. All right. Only 4,500 in Honduras, that's okay. There's not that many people there. I've been looking at all these horrible things that have been happening around the globe, starting with the Haiti earthquake. You know, in the early days of Barack Obama, the Haitian earthquake occurred. 350,000 people died. And then right after that, they opened up a resort on Haiti. But let me tell you something that's really weird. I was talking to people in the water filtration system at the time, and they said that they were getting contacted by the Clinton Initiative prior to the earthquake in Haiti. That they were talking to these water filtration people, and I won't give you the name, but they were talking to them about building resorts in Haiti. This is before the earthquake, 350,000 people dying. So the Clinton Initiative was involved in developing an outreach to Haiti before the earthquake. Are you getting a kind of a weird, creepy feeling? I can tell you that earthquakes can be created. Tesla proved this over 100 years ago. They can actually shake the earth using ionic vibration and harmonic electromagnetic activity. They can actually shake the earth. They can cause earthquakes. So I'm not so sure that Haiti wasn't an unnatural act. I wish I was sure that it was a natural act. But starting with that and then going on from there, the past 7 years have been an odyssey. I'm serious. It could be possible. But there's an odyssey of awakening going on in my life. And I don't know if it may be in your life too, but the more you read, the more you're like, your jaw drops. And then you find out if this is true by reading other stories and putting this together and deciding for yourself if it's true. So the pathway to truth may be pretty much not what you think. You may actually believe one thing for many years and then all of a sudden awaken and go, wow, really? For years, I was looking up in the skies, seeing these things called contrails. At the time, I thought they were contrails. I'm not a French candidate, no. That's a mistake. See, that's libel. I was looking at contrails when I was a young man, and as early as the 1960s. So they said I was a French candidate, really? Okay, let me put that on record. Yeah, thanks. I was looking up at the sky, and I saw these in the 60s, and I said, oh, that's contrails. And then my mother was discussing the possibility that these were chemtrails back in 1985, and I said, no, they're contrails, just condensation. And I mean, I held out for a long time, and I said, no way. They couldn't possibly be spraying us like insects to alter the weather, to change the atmosphere. And the more I learned, the more I became more awake, and the more it became more obvious. And the preponderance of chemical spraying going on around the country, around the world, you can't ignore it. You just can't. It's overwhelming. So happy Earth Day, everybody. Even though it's not Earth Day. Chemtrail issues are becoming more acceptable in our house. We talk about it more often. So it's not like a big conflict of interest. But look at the unbelievable reality. This is the truth. That one little burp by Mount Etna has already put more than 10,000 times the CO2 into the atmosphere than mankind has in our entire time on Earth. But don't worry, a scam is in the works to tax your minuscule carbon footprint. And it's called Agenda 21. And Hillary is behind it. Global carbon point legislation, cap and trade, all that is garbage. That is designed to make us think, oh, we're the perpetrator when we go ahead and eat a little piece of meat that animal is flatulating and producing carbon, and we don't want that. No, this is the reality. This is the truth. Yeah, the chemicals that come out of volcanoes are way more devastating to the atmosphere than anything mankind is doing. So don't go down that road of saying, oh, well, we're the cause of everything. But we must now awaken to the fact that chemtrails is a willful attempt to change the weather through weather modification. And it's worse in a way because they believe that they have the secret to change the climate. They can play God. That's what's really kind of disturbing. They're thinking that they can play God. Well, Alberta is a massive smoke bomb at this point. You know, Trump nicknames rejected by Hillary Clinton really don't make any, it doesn't really change the nature of this debate or non-debate going on. So let's take a look at the reality, the truth here tonight. Let's just look at the truth. We're being played. The whole story about chemtrails is not something that I'm making up. But when you discuss chemtrails, you're considered a whack job. And that's by design. That's called predictive programming. So we've been predictively programmed to believe that anybody who questions anything is a whack job. And when you do the unthinkable, alienate people that question things in your family, you're basically a tool. You're behaving as a tool, a mind-controlled zombie who simply is being used by the elitists to destroy awareness and awakening. So happy Earth Day. Let's wake up, folks. The reality check is we need to realize that they are spraying us like insects. And that's the beginning of this discussion here. The truth is. And they're pushing an Agenda 21, global climate change, as a political agenda. Instead of facing the reality that we're seeing alterations in our atmosphere due to chemtrails, they want us to believe that it's all due to your muffler. Okay, let's start with what they're spraying. Sure. They're spraying aluminum, silver iodide, which silver iodide is considered an attraction formula for water. It brings water in. So whenever they want to suck water into like the Northwest, like they've been doing, they drop silver iodide. They put out a variety of other things as well, obviously barium, strontium, selenium. These are chemicals that react in the atmosphere and make precipitation possible. And lithium. They may actually be spraying lithium to lower your ability to respond or react, to neutralize you, much like a manic depressive takes lithium, to calm them down. So yeah, all of that. Aluminium could be sprayed on us right now, and worse. Attenuated viruses, vaccines, aerial vaccines. They may be doing aerial spraying. There's evidence they're going to do aerial vaccinations in Australia coming up, and they're telling the people about it. So this is a question of, do you have enough time in the day to support a third party? And in doing so, besides watching our show, do you have a few minutes during the night to post a few links around the internet about America's third party? These two links are really important. You can go to Twitter and promote us there on your Twitter account and just say, hey, this guy wants to stop chemtrails. I don't mind you telling people that because I'm the only candidate who's actually talking about everything in an above-board fashion. This chemtrail problem is just, the tip of the iceberg, really. It's way worse in so many different areas. There's a corruption problem as well. Aluminum. Okay. Believe me, I don't say anything more than current knowledge because I'm trying to appeal to the average person. Every bit of information I get comes from you guys. So I'm kind of riding a wave here of cutting edge information, common knowledge. So we're kind of at the crest of common knowledge, if you will. And there's nothing wrong with common knowledge. You're not using common sense to apply your brain and to realize you are simply being manipulated by the elitists like Trump and Hillary. And they know that they can control your vote in the upcoming election simply by buying media time and keeping me out. Now, Trump's using my ideas to knock any Republican out. These ideas have been honed over years of effort by me. And to plagiarize 8 ideas, it's just phenomenal, and he's getting away with it. Nobody in the media is stopping him. Okay, this is important. Dubai is set to unveil these spectacular floating apartments with underwater rooms. Wow. I love it. Count me in. Where do I write the check? How much will it cost? Honestly, how amazing is this? Imagine having an apartment that is halfway underwater. Pretty cool. Yeah. Very nice design. Oh, that's so cool. Love it. We'll keep this. It's going to be 1.8 million. Oh, I don't have that much money. Pass on that idea. 1.8 million. I can make a barge and make my own. Put a Home Depot storage unit on top of it and a tent. I can do it for 15 grand. 1.8 million? What are you kidding? What are you kidding? I'll tell you, I got no respect. I don't think Sarah Palin is a bad person. I just don't think she's presidential material. What is man chat room? This is man's chat room. David Sponheim is the man with the tan. This is Truth Tuesday. You're in the thick of it. The reason why our shows are consistently on every night is because we really believe that the message continues and people want to talk in real time to a presidential candidate. Yeah, Dubai is making the U.S. look like a third world country, Earthsky says. Yeah, well, if you're fapping to a woman at Sarah Palin's age, you need to check yourself into a rehab or something. You've got a sex addiction. Any jokes will be followed with a rim shot. And by the way, that's not a rim job. All right. We're kicking off. Truth Tuesday on its way. Some of you are going to need some cowbell. We got that on tap tonight. Victor, my return on investment to casting, because I don't monetize what I'm doing, had I been standing in front of Walmart for the past 7,000 hours, I would have had about $80,000, maybe $100,000 for all the time I've done doing the show. Instead, I have 2 million viewers, which I'm not monetizing. And because I'm not into money, unlike you, who obviously wants to make money, I am much happier doing this. I don't have all the restrictions. I don't answer to Zionism like Donald does. I don't have to get the Fed on the phone and say, I'll work it out. How much money do you want? Oh, I can't cover that debt right now. I don't have that problem. No, the viewers on Vaughn are actually... Vaughn is a censored network. We've got people right now in Latvia. 1,500 viewers are watching me right now in Latvia. Thank you so much, 540. The censorship going on at Vaughn right now, in case you're wondering, I have a limiter on Vaughn. They won't let me actually move up in the rankings anymore. He's tapped out the chat room at about 100 people. I usually can't get above 100. Now, there are people, thousands of people trying to get in the chat room that you're sitting there going, oh, this is like kind of boring, dude. I really don't want to be here. Well, please leave the chat room if you don't want to be here, because I've got about 1,000 people waiting to get into Vaughn right now. I don't think there's 45 million people in Greenland. Nice try, though. Top Hillary Clinton aide walks out of the middle of the FBI interview. You think she might have something to hide? I wonder what she's hiding. No, I'm not a liar. You're basically taking up space here. You know, I would ban you, but I would be banning 200,000 people in your sector. So you will not be banned because I need those people to come in to replace you. Yeah, you're easily replaceable. Chatter, just leave. You don't even understand what I'm doing. Most of you are so brain dead you're walking around drooling right now from over fluoridation. Mom, can I have a soda? I want more tortilla chips too. That's what you're dealing with. I know what's going on. Yeah. And your mom is not going to be there. She's already 62 and you're 45, so it's time to grow up, buddy. Okay, let's take a look. When the FBI noose closing around Hillary and her closest State Department cohorts as the federal agency nears the end of its criminal probe. Some are getting increasingly concerned about what they will and will not say on the record. See, Hillary's got a lot of power. She's like a whale, a political whale. One such person is Hillary former State Department Chief of Staff Cheryl Mills, who, according to the WAPO, walked out of an interview with federal investigators when an FBI official began to discuss a topic considered off limits. See, Hillary's staff are designed to do the same thing she does, plead the fifth every time she's been probed on any issue. I'm sure her staff would love to probe other things too, but I can't believe I'm talking about an 80-year-old woman. How old is Hillary? Is she 80? Does anybody know? Is she 80 years old? David, how do you feel about Japan admitting they fired the first shot on the dollar? I'm understanding it completely, Victor. Yeah. You know, Japan's been experimenting with negative interest rates. That means that you actually get paid by the bank to keep your money there. And the bank charges everybody else tons of money to loan money. See, negative interest rates are not working in Japan, and that's probably why they're beginning to depeg a little bit from the dollar. They want to stand on their own 2 feet. I don't blame them. Welfare and food stamps, how poor are we? We're poor. Like I said in the pre-show with Sarah, 65% of the country in America is $500 from living on the street. Pretty cool, huh? Not. Here's some welfare statistics. Total number of Americans on welfare, 110 million people. Total number of Americans on food stamps, 41 million. I wonder how many non-Americans are on food stamps. I thought there were a lot more on food stamps. Percent of the U.S. population on welfare, 35%. Total government spending on welfare annually, $132 billion. That's just welfare. Food stamps is about 60. Of course, Japan is pegged to the dollar. Come on. Is this a joke? Are you saying the dollar dropped in value, Japan would have no effect on Japan? Oh, okay. Wow. Boy, people are really deluded in this society. Everyone's interconnected. We're pegged on the yen. Yeah. Japan has a sizable a loan to the U.S. Now, I suggested that it was 2 weeks ago I first suggested this. We sell Hawaii to pay the debt to Japan. What do you think about that idea? And while we sell Hawaii, we also acquire Puerto Rico. Now, the reason why I'd like to sell Hawaii is because obviously, we have a debt with Japan. We could leverage a lot of that debt onto a sale. They could use it as a vacation property for their own country. And yeah, and we don't need that extra commute distance to Hawaii. We could save a lot of money on airfare. Anybody in Hawaii is living there as a U.S. citizen, we'd offer them a property settlement plan in Kansas. If you have oceanfront property, you could just, even if you stay there, you just become a Japanese citizen automatically. That would have to be in the agreement, though. Japan owns a lot of property in Hawaii. Japanese businessmen have made major investments there. No, I don't think selling Hawaii is high treason. I'm just putting it out there as an idea. Do you want to pay back the debt, or are you one of those scumbags that lives on credit, like Trump? You don't want to pay back the debt to Japan at all? Well, I'm just suggesting that we buy Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico has outstanding loans to our U.S. banks, and if we made the mistake, we could automatically write off their loans and then continue the same plan of supporting their economy, but they'd become a state. Hawaii, in my opinion, Hawaii has made an unbelievable mistake. They faked a birth certificate of a standing U.S. president. We've never punished a state in the history of our statehood. No one's ever had a state removed. Once they become a state, it's like tenure as a teacher. So why not just punish them? Say, hey, we're going to sell you to Japan. What's wrong with that? I mean, I don't see any credible reasons why we can't do that. And then pick up Puerto Rico's, because I don't want to change the 50 stars. It's just a suggestion. No, I want to make sure, we don't need anything outside of our continental U.S. besides Alaska. I'm just saying, why not make a change at this point? And monetarily, it'll help us big time. A lot of that money we get back, we'll be able to make money too. Okay, I'm just throwing it out there as an idea. I'm sorry you're so angry. Do you have property in Hawaii, a U.S. citizen with property in Hawaii? I'm not selling countries. It's called a state. If I'm running for president, don't you think I have the right to talk about selling a state? Well, I'm sure you're going to die in defense of Hawaii. Why don't you get into the conversation? Give me a logical reason why I can't sell Hawaii when I come, just as a suggestion. Aside from the fact that the president can't sell Hawaii, why can't I talk about selling Hawaii?
What do you want Hawaii to no longer be part of the U.S.?
Well, Sarah, they violated our Constitution by falsifying a critical document, which has affected our country for 7 years with a lame duck Kenyan president born in Mombasa. I mean, how do you punish a state that lies like that?
Maybe you have, Hawaii would want to become its own sovereign country again, rather than selling it.
What about that, guys? The person that does not like the idea of selling Hawaii, would you like the idea of giving Hawaii back to the Hawaiians? I've got a supporter out in Hawaii right now that wants to have Hawaii back.
Yeah, he wants Hawaii to be an independent country.
Yeah. So what about that idea? Let's talk about that. And then Hawaii could decide whether they want to sell themselves to Japan after that. What would Hawaii offer us in exchange for their country? What would we get from that?
Well, we would have...
Why would we even bother with the trade unless it meant something financially? That's why I'm saying we should sell Hawaii
right now,
as a state
to Japan. That we're giving Hawaii.
Do we have anybody in Japan who would like to acquire Hawaii as part of your country? Anybody? Considering it was part of your country for many, many years? Oh, man. I guess I stepped on the wrong person's toes here. Hawaii has a great robotics division in their school system. They do great work, but that's partly because of Japan, and they've embraced the elementary school systems in Hawaii. We would retain Pearl Harbor. I'm never going to get rid of a base, just like we have Okinawa. We would retain Pearl Harbor, just like we have Guantanamo. I won't get rid of Guantanamo. I told people in 2008 that there's no way Obama is going to get rid of Guantanamo. And I was right. So you want to go to Hawaii? What if I told you you go to Tahiti and it's just as beautiful? And Fiji? I mean, why are you so hell-bent on going to Hawaii? Aside from the fact that Hawaii happened to be the one state that violated our Constitution, what other reasons would we want to get rid of Hawaii for? It's far away, hard to get to. It's got a burdening welfare population. There are people in Hawaii that actually, they're asked, do you have any family in the States that we can send you for free to? Did you hear that the other day? They actually asked people, would you like to go to your family in Oklahoma? Here's a plane ticket. They just want to get him off the street in Hawaii. There's so many people that are just leeching off of the state. So there's no Japanese person who wants, hey, what's going on? No Japanese person that wants to actually acquire Hawaii. Okay, then I'm going to drop it. Forget I mentioned it for now. All right, thank you. But you can still tell people that I'm the guy who wants to sell Hawaii. I don't mind. We don't own Cuba. Dog the Bounty Hunter is one of the best shows out there for bounty hunting. Absolutely. No, I'm not Dog the Bounty Hunter. Many people think I am. I'm not. It's kind of an elaborate effort to make a comparison, but Dwayne Dog the Bounty Hunter is not me. Although we do look identical. Here.
Okay, thank you. You don't look identical, but
well,
I guess you would look identical if you had long hair and a beard.
I think it's safe to say that people know that I am looking just like
you just cut off all your hair and shaved your beard. Maybe I could see that.
Shaved my beard? I didn't know I had a beard.
Well, I mean, if you said you were identical to Dog the Bounty Hunter, you could only look like him if you had long hair and had a beard. So he could look like you if he cut off all his hair and shaved his beard.
All right.
So maybe that's what you did.
Okay.
You were Dog the Bounty Hunter, but you cut off all your hair.
The rumor that I'm Dog the Bounty Hunter is about to be put to the rest.
It's about to begin.
It's about to begin. Doesn't he have like a high voice? Hey guys, stop it! I'm gonna arrest you guys if you keep it up.
He doesn't sound like that. Actually, he kind of sounds like you.
He kind of sounds like me. He sounds just like me. Yeah, I'm gonna kick your butt if you don't get that car back here. Do you understand me? Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm on the splitting image. This guy. I have a dream. I have a dream that little white boys can play with little black girls. I have a dream. 5 kids ripped from their family after veteran father pursued cannabis treatment for PTSD. Look at this, folks. You want to talk about violations? Yes, I have a dream. You saw a young David Caruso. He had more blonde hair, but boy, he looked like you. Really? How do you know I don't have like alternating android reptilian copies?
I don't think David looks like David Caruso.
No. How do you know I'm not being duplicated right now in some sort of program?
I mean...
How do you know that they're not working on a computerized version of me? You know, it would be weird if I opened the door one day and I saw myself walk right into the house
as an android?
As an android and said, hello, I am taking over. You are hereby terminated. The cleaners will be here shortly. And they just attempt to take me down, the robots. Yeah. It's just a theory. Okay, 5 kids ripped them from the family. I mean, this is wrong. They're using my kids as a pawn to take away freedoms I fought for, he said. Okay, the fun is over with pot sort of legalization thing. Now it's getting serious. With some states allowing recreational medical use of pot, some states only allowing medical uses, and some states not allowing either, and the Obama administration selectively enforcing federal pot laws. So much confusion has been created over what is and is not permissible, and now it has cost a Colorado father and veteran his children. This is tragic. Can you imagine what he's going through? He's like, do I smoke weed and try to kill the memories of Nam or Iraq? Or do I want my kids back? I don't know. It's a lot of questions he's going through. Chances are he's going to stay smoking weed. And just say, well, whatever.
Why do you have to stay so you're purposely like staying sober a certain amount of time, Jackson, and then you're like, then I can go get high?
Yeah, what do you like? Delayed gratification. That's people like.
Or
to do
is
that.
it a court order?
Hey, you know, you're not the only person that's beginning to be concerned about chemtrails. I mean, I don't know if this is true, but we have a little slideshow here of Sister Sarah talking about voting ATP and and supporting us. Exactly. And then one person added this one. Sister Sarah says, vote for David. That's right. And she says, stop the chemtrails. Sister Sarah, Wonder Woman. Yeah. So are you beginning to think that there is something going on like Vin Diesel? Because he's taking a stand. He has exposed chemtrails on his Facebook page. It's a big move for Vin Diesel. That's right. You don't have to make a comment. I'm just saying a pejorative statement. But look at that. He's laying on the line, man, taking a risk for a guy as big and as huge of a film star as Vin Diesel. Maybe the death of his friend may have caused his change, but who knows? Fast and Furious star Vin Diesel has gone public on chemtrails, lending support to the theory that the U.S. government are spraying poisonous chemicals into the atmosphere in order to slowly poison and dumb down members of the public. Okay, time for me to leave and for you to enjoy Sarah. I know when I'm being kicked out of the room. I can feel it. I'm a very in tune person. You guys want to get personal with Sarah and enjoy yourself. I get it. No problem. It's no problemo. I've got to go up and make some hot coffee. Well, he said it on his Facebook in the picture. Didn't you see it? All right, you can.
Okay. No, I don't want any monklets. Thank you. Wow, you think marijuana smoke contains 50 to 70% more cancer-causing substances than what? When you say something is more, then that means something else is less. What is the thing that's less? And tobacco? Really? If you were just smoking straight tobacco, I might believe you, but if you're smoking cigarettes that they create these days, I don't believe that. Because I think there's a lot of carcinogens in those cigarettes and in e-cigarettes as well. You have an awesome recipe for turkey meatloaf. I haven't decided whether I like meatloaf or not. I probably don't. I know for a fact I don't like eggs. Even though it was so funny. Yeah. Anyway. Oh. Go sit in the corner, 925. That's your punishment. Do you only want to smoke pot that's been genetically modified? Alrighty. I guess whatever floats your boat. You don't trust e-cigarettes? Well, I just read a thing about e-cigarettes yesterday that the colored, they're a certain color and kids are thinking, oh, it's drinkable something, and they drink it and then they die. They try to drink the liquid. That's so disgusting. So make sure you keep any e-cigarette chemicals out of the hands of children. Keep them up and safe and away from children. It's become a big issue. They've been poison control places have been called on that issue. Well, I suppose if they smoke it like that, yeah, I suppose single joints, it depends on how big the joint is, I guess. I know, isn't this an awesome jacket, the color of the jacket? Yeah, it matches my necklace, blue. I had some I had some earrings that matched it too, but I took those out. You stopped vaping and you just started smoking cigarettes or smoking marijuana? I don't know who smokes a whole joint to themselves. I'm sure, I guess that's the other thing, I guess a whole, an entire joint would have that much, but most people don't smoke an entire joint. Is that from that video, Antique? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that from that funny video that you posted? Oh, okay. Yeah. You love that video, huh? You're like, wow, this is the closest some guy can get to showing off his junk and actually still be okay to be posted on YouTube. Just bizarre. You say THC in cannabis disrupts nerve cells in the brain, affecting memory. Ooh, interesting. Wow. I suppose it depends on the size of the joint, and I guess it also depends on the quality of the marijuana. All right. Towels are nice too, Antique. All right. Oh, you want to get married to DT now, Jackson? I think she wants you sober for a lot longer than that. I thought, well, was that an assumption? I thought DT Allura was like, had a thing for Mad Dog. I don't know. Now I'm confused. Yeah, it's up to them and their body. That's how I feel about it. 449. E-liquid contains 6 chemicals. Cigarette smoke contains 4,000 chemicals. Wow. But that doesn't mean it's safe, though. Weed helps people with cancer pain, you say? This morning was in Germany, and now... Whoa. Multiple casualties from the stabbing at a Massachusetts mall. Wow. Who's Randall? Randall? Oh, Randall from Poke. Oh. Well, that's nice of Mad Dog to do, I suppose. Yeah, don't put others at risk. I agree. All right, thanks. I'll check it out. I just bring all the links over here, and then that doesn't always work. Allen B. West. Massachusetts stabbing at a mass stabbing at a Massachusetts mall. One person was killed and 3 injured were in a stabbing attack in Germany. And then there's another stabbing incident closer to home. There were multiple casualties after several people were stabbed at a mall in Taunton, Massachusetts, which is 40 miles south of Boston, 18 miles east of Providence, Rhode Island. An assailant with a knife stabbed at least 4 people at a mall before he was shot and injured at the scene. Alcohol and marijuana. Maybe I'll check that out later. Okay. Oh, he did that? Are you serious, Antique? No wonder he's in jail. If that's a true story, no wonder he's in jail, and I wouldn't be giving him any commissary money, that's for sure. Maybe I'd give him a pork chop. That's about it. Oh, are you saying that? Are you claiming that he's just spreading lies, Allura, or what? Hi, Mad Dog. Oh, he's just banned from every site. Is that the case? Maybe, maybe not. You never know. Oh, you don't like the... I can't even do that with my eyes. I can't do that. Okay. Ow, that's gonna create wrinkles on my forehead, Segami. I blame you. I don't think that DT is going to go shopping with Antique on Saturday. No, that's not going to happen. Sarah says no. Maybe that's all he knows how to do, Admiral. You can click his name, right click his name and click ignore, and then you don't have to see it anymore. Right click his name and click ignore. That's what's so awesome about what Vaughn created here. You don't have to see people that you don't want to. Exactly. You're welcome. Now I can still see Segami going. But you don't have to see it. I know 890. I'm just Sarah. That's what I am. You think Ian and Admiral should go shopping on Saturday? Do you guys really go shopping though? Is that what happens? My eyebrows look short. Really? I thought they were too long. Maybe they don't go all the way over here. You don't like the arch because they get thin right there. Nope, no shopping. I know, I thought men are not big shoppers, so. Who are you talking about? Oh, you hate shopping? You are a guy and you like to shop some. Cool. I know they are totally not drawn on. These are just natural eyebrows. You're like, well, then why did you buy her that if that's not what you wanted her to use? Just kidding. Okay. Guys get dragged shopping and look for little chairs to sit in. Well, David sometimes when he shops with me, he'll give me good advice like, that's ugly. Or, hey, that looks good on you. He has a good eye. I like shopping with him. But I'm not a big shopper, I have to say. I cannot see spending tons of money on clothes that I'm only going to wear like a few times. So I tend to like buy clothes and just wear them out. That's what I think. Oh, that would be fun, 521, but sorry. Only the only people that get to do that are the people that have already done that. I know, isn't it awesome? I did not decorate this room, I have to say. It was decorated by the staff. Yeah, oh, that's what a bob is? Okay. Alabama outlawed battery operated boyfriends? That's hilarious. That way the men can get more action. Wow, 400 ounces of gold at 1200. How much is it an ounce? You buy clothes at Goodwill, but you went out and bought 400 ounces of gold? That's kind of ridiculous. Wouldn't it be nice to have actual staff do things for you? It'd be nice to order people to do things and have them actually do them. I didn't know that Alabama outlawed that, Jackson. No, I don't know if I believe that. All right. And I didn't know what Bob stood for. Well, I guess that you buying clothes at Goodwill is the good thing because then you're saving the planet from the clothes being just tossed. You invest every penny you can, but you spend hours researching on economics every day. Maybe you can give me some advice. Yeah. I know. Some people do think they deserve big paychecks when they have no skills. I'm trying to learn more skills so then I can get a better paycheck. No, it's not really to get a better paycheck. Actually, I just like gaining new skills for the sake of gaining new skills. Well, currency is usually based on gold, but they could have easily been based on copper or any other metal. You found a turtleneck fleece sweater. It still had the tag. $7. That's cool. Some people buy clothes and they never wear them, and then they give them to Goodwill, and then you can wear them, and that's pretty good. The dollar's going to drop in June. It's already been declining, but China is about to declare war on it. Actually, Japan already has, isn't it? Teachers are underpaid. That's it. Try mountain climbing. Oh, last time I went mountain climbing, you know what you're not supposed to do on mountain climbing? like freak out and like you're hanging on a rope and like go together when you go, and that's like grab the rope. I did that. That was stupid. You're supposed to go out. Oh my goodness, is Anne really going to move to Alabama? That would be hilarious. Okay. Oh, China's going to start an economic war. So we should just invest in gold? Is that what you're saying, Victory? No way. Well, I guess that single condoms. Yeah, I could see that, Mad Dog. Not so sure I trust that, but I guess for $1. I don't know. Yeah. Convert it into silver and gold. I guess I should buy more silver. I could at least do that. Tell David the $7 meal really costs $10 with tax. I don't know if we pushed them or they chose to do that, Mad Dog. They were, for a long time, they were just a totalitarian country. Really? I'll have to look into that. 449. Yes, I know. I agree with you there, Victory. All right, hugs for you. There you go. Is that good? If the Fed does not raise rates soon, they could fall behind and then face hyperinflation. I think that we will see that. You're so funny, 1717. All right. Yeah, buy condoms and masks and give them out to people. That would be good. You want to be my personal loofah? That's so funny. Uh, yeah. Yeah, they're kind of in a rock and a hard place because if they raise rates, the Utah economy could tank too. Like calling Laura Ingalls a stripper. Oh my goodness, Laura, you're cracking me up. All right, I have to stop laughing. Ah, I don't often laugh, but that was pretty funny. Okay, now to something more serious. A 21-year-old Navy SEAL died last week during his first week of basic training in Coronado, California, a Navy spokesman said today. That's sad. Let's have a moment of silence for that SEAL trainee. That is very young. 21 years old. Very, very young. The mass stabbing happened in Massachusetts, the Massachusetts Mall. There was one earlier in Germany, so it could have been a copycat or something like that. I don't know. Okay, Nikola Motors wants to build clean semis. That's interesting. Yeah, those fires are pretty crazy, Laura. Oh, oh, that's cool. GameDev.net. I should check into that. Unity developers who want to extend their capabilities to include 3D modeling in Blender. Whether you're interested in unique 3D props for your games, building awesome levels, or tweaking your existing Unity, ooh, I'll say yes. All right. I do not have a little toe ring. I have weird, funky feet. And I guess I have really great genes. I have an awesome mom and a dad, so maybe that's how I got to be beautiful. But I kind of feel like the ugly duckling. Like I was like this total nerd growing up, and like, just like the big goofy glasses, and always the kid that everybody picked on, and so that was about it. And I always loved that story of the ugly duckling, and I always thought that I would hopefully grow up into a beautiful swan. So yeah. Yeah, you might want to do that 214. At least you can spell the word grammar correctly. Thank you, 449. Disney shares plunge as earnings rise but miss their estimates. And a federal judge is blocking the Staples and Office Depot merger. You liked a nerd girl with glasses, but you're afraid to let people know that you like the nerd girl with glasses? Oh, thanks, 214. Budweiser is going to rebrand their beer to America during the elections. Huh. Thanks, Jackson. Walmart is suing Visa over transactions. Interesting. Oh, no way. I'm gonna check this out. This is a cool article. I'm gonna check this out. Sarah's like all excited. The cool article is that, I know, school days are kind of silly. It's the Hyperloop is about to have its first public test. I'm very excited. I hope not 565. You notice I had short hair? Well, one thing is I had long hair before I cut it really short. And then this is like 4 years worth of growing my hair. So it's took a while. Yeah, I did I did notice that story. It was not guns. I would totally go in the Hyperloop in the first public test, even if it meant I was going to go sweat. I totally believe in things like that. That's my hand. Okay. All right. LA-based Hyperloop Technologies is now Hyperloop One. Saying goodbye to Hyperloop Technologies, one of two LA-based startups working to realize Elon Musk's dream of super-fast tube-based transport. The company announced today it's rebranding as Hyperloop One to avoid any mix-up with the similarly named Hyperloop Transportation Technologies. It's making its first open-air test of its propulsion system in North Las Vegas, Nevada tomorrow, Wednesday. It has raised $80 million in venture capital financing, formed a number of key partnerships, It will study the feasibility of building Hyperloop systems in Finland, Sweden, Switzerland, and the Port of Los Angeles. China has been porting gold for years. Only a few days ago, China started trading paper gold on their stock exchange. Paper. It's ridiculous. God is trying to collapse things. Can I give you tutoring sessions on how to read? Well, at least you can write. No comment. 336. How about that? I don't know who Teal Swan is. So I don't know if I like that person because I don't know who that is. Why? You'll just have to figure that out, 336. So a lot of bravado from a company that's less than 2 years old and has yet to even demonstrate the viability of its central idea. She's a spiritual guru on YouTube. Okay. Well, at least you love her. That's good. You look fine. As long as they're comfortable, you're good. Will I ever dance to Can't Stop? Will I ever dance on video so that you can make an emoticon of me? Probably not. Especially since I saw David making you guys have the emoticons of David. She's a little too smart for that. Use your noggin. Make smart choices. I saw Napoleon Dynamite, but I know. Well, that you could have the emoticon of like the Halo thing. But anyway, even though I don't feel like I'm smiling in any of those, I kind of feel weird about my smile right now a little bit. But as far as Napoleon Dynamite, I was like, how old was I? I was in my mid-20s when it came out. Right, Mad Dog? Right? I think. Well, anyway, I asked him because he's the same age as me. Nothing can hurt me. Nothing. Anyway. Sarah has a whole sexy Plymouth brethren thing going on with my bun. Isn't that kind of cool? I always wanted my hair long enough to be able to do that. It finally is. Thank you, 218. If you worked for, no, anyway. All right. It's not even a bun. It's like, it's my hair in a ponytail and then wrapped up into itself. It's like, anyway. Let them eat cake. Cake is fun. You're like, forget the cake. I want some brownies. Move over, cake. What Obama will see when he goes to Hiroshima. Can Cameron deliver on anti-corruption pledge? Your evening briefing. Hillary Clinton, Stephen Curry, Dilma Rousseff. Whoever that is. Brownies, vanilla ice cream. Fattening. I better stop eating. Okay. Just drink water. Alright, good job. Go on your diet, Sarah. You need to stay good looking. Do some sit-ups while you're at it. Alright, I'll do that on my break. Yes. I talk to myself because why not? So in Munich, a knife attacker stabbed 4 people and killed 1. All right. My goodness, you must have been really desperate, Antique. Seriously? And I mean, well, if you got her a bob, what did you expect? No comment, Melko. All right.
All right. Okay.
San Francisco is going to vote on their immigrant sanctuary city rules.
Okay.
What? Oh, you're on the International Dean's list? Nice. And Phi Beta Kappa, good job.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Got a lot of chores done.
Oh, good job, David.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lots of things going on here. Phi Beta Kappa, that's fantastic for you. You finished college with a D average. That's awesome. Look at that. D average. Wow. Make this the Common Core Hour. We just, congratulate you on waking up. Wow, you woke up today. That's great.
Yeah, good job finishing college.
Well, I imagine Bernie did win West Virginia. A lot of people are upset with big money. Yeah. Hillary is kind of a big money person. I don't know what color herpes is. I have no idea. I never had it. We wondered when Mark was going to come up with a co-host feature. We haven't really had it yet. We think he may not be able to code.
Oh, thank you, 689. Well, all they need to do is get David 238, contact the people that are trying to do it, and tell them, there's an awesome candidate. Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, 238. Why not ask Sponheim to beat Trump? He could take him on. I know, it all works. Guys chat with me, ladies chat with David. Everything's great. Really? 468. Huh. That's strange. Oh well, I guess it happens. I don't know why it happens, but it happens. I'm glad that hasn't happened to us. Broadcast guidelines. Should I go read all the broadcast guidelines? Well, there were some ideas that David has talked about for a long time that it seems that Trump came on and started talking about.
Yeah. So this is how we did it earlier. When we first started our show, Sarah would take a half an hour. I would do a half hour.
Yeah.
And we did back and forth 10 hours when we first started. It was amazing.
That was
thank you.
Crazy.
Yeah. But the future of our country really depends on more than just talk, obviously. But this is a start, Please don't talk about other people in here.
We're not on Skype, Darlene. From South Florida. We do have a phone number you can call in and talk to David, but we're not on Skype.
Yeah, so we did 500 hours till the 2008 election because I wanted to stop the tyranny of the two-party system back then, and I've been trying ever since. And I realized that we're so far down the censorship highway that we are like the Soviet Union was in the 1970s. I mean, Barack Obama might as well be Brezhnev. It wouldn't matter. Our country is completely shut down its freedom of speech. Carl came in last night. He was really great. He spent an hour in the show talking. Very cool. He spent more time with us than anyone else has called in since Carl called in before. I mean, it's kind of amazing. Yeah.
Nope, America's third party is the third party. What, Mad Dog? You tried calling in and David ignored your calls?
No, I never did. It was just a bad connection. Pete doesn't really come by very often, once in a while. Pistol Pete from way back in 2008.
I haven't seen him in ages.
Yeah, he came by. He usually gets a good, solid Pabst Blue Ribbon into him, and then he thinks about coming in, and then he gets. By the time he's got his fifth Pabst Blue Ribbon, I think he forgot he was going to come into the show. So, I'm not experiencing springtime allergies, but it's getting kind of warm. I notice that. I'm just a little bit concerned about the climate change. The tornadoes in Colorado, Oklahoma, 53 tornadoes. I think it was. We saw a live picture of that tornado just the other day.
You take rose hip syrup and it stops your allergies. That's interesting. All right, I'm gonna take my break.
Thank you for coming in. That was awesome.
Yes, David does have a Google secretary, Google phone number, Google secretary. It all works out well.
Yeah, we have the whole thing. It's working. Okay. Something's wrong with my skin tone. It's like blotchy or something. Color intensity, that's what. There we go. You're setting up DPX with Asterix for me? Wow. I didn't know you were doing that. What exactly is DPX with Asterix?
I know Asterix is a code for phones. But...
Oh. It is a cable modem? You're setting up a cable modem for me? How's that working out? No, that's just you imagining what's going to happen to you someday when you grow up. I don't get the drinking thing either. It bothers me to think that people just get drunk every day. I know a lot of people that do, and the only time they call me is when they're like tippy. How you doing, Dave? How are you thinking about it? It's been a long time. I haven't heard from you. I thought it was a good time to call. It's 12:30, man. Wake up, dude. 12:30 at night.
Cease your senseless chatter.
Cease your senseless chatter. Judge exposed as a serial molester after thousands of nude photos, some of children found on a PC. A judge, folks. What's the world coming to? That's so weird. You know, and Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the House, only got 15 months. Is Washington a May issue? I don't know what your question is, 728. Yeah, well, the idea of... Yeah, it does sound like Strom for me. Dennis Hastert was a guy who had sex with 4 of his wrestling students when he was a coach. Yeah. And he only is getting 15 months. Name one pedophile out there who's getting 15 months for 4 molestations. I mean, you could get 15 months for one picture on your hard drive. You were a substance abuse counselor and I just gave up, Dave. So what are you doing, drugs now? Or you just gave up your job as a substance abuse counselor? Well, he likes me, man. He's 55 days sobriety, man. That's huge, Jackson. Jackson had 55 days of sobriety. Yes. I'm not Johnny Carson. Well, I wish Johnny Carson had been without booze. He would have been still here talking to us. Yeah, great job, Jackson, because, you know, he broke his ankle and I think it's your wrist, your elbow or something. One night he came in really, really drunk, and that night he broke his ankle. So, marijuana kills cancer cells, admits a U.S. National Cancer Survey. Cancer Institute. Oh, I like these colors. By the way, we support legalization, folks. Legalization, it means full recreational legalization, not the kind Gary Johnson wants to support where he makes money. Gary Johnson bought into medical marijuana production. He's a grower, and he wants to profit big time. Whereas I want to make it legal so that it opens the marketplace and doesn't have prescriptions and pharmaceutical. The prescription thing is not working in Washington, by the way. They're phasing it out for a variety of reasons. Medical marijuana is the thing of the past in Washington. Soon there'll be all recreational stores. But this story about marijuana at Countercurrent News is relevant. States in the U.S. may be one step closer to legalizing the recreational use of marijuana. Yes, especially now that the National Cancer Institute has updated its website, frequently asked questions, to include some studies proving cannabis as a natural remedy for cancer. Great. That's awesome. Good news. Pistol licenses, may or shall. Everybody should be allowed to bear arms. Registration is handled state by state. I don't support anything other than verification. No registration on a national level. There should be a database that you could go to that you can pull up any information on a person that you're selling a gun to and get a free check. It would take all of a second. I used to talk about a copay of $5. You know, I don't want to restrict business. And I don't want to have some guy saying, man, you charge me $5 and I only have 2 felonies and you can't do that to me, man. You know, it's like, I don't want a face-off in the middle of a gun show, you know. Yeah, that's okay, dude. Yeah, relax. It wasn't any cost. It's free. It's just a better way to do it. I'm convinced that anytime we put a monetary barrier in front of somebody and people have to get checking on identities and backgrounds, it should be instantaneous. Well, let's be clear. Marijuana is not physically addicting. I do believe it is habit forming, though. I don't think you can ignore the fact that you're jonesing for a doobie whenever, you know, you're out. Yeah. You have to realize that anything like that is addictive in some capacity. It's habit forming, but not physically addictive. So there is a psychological component to the addiction. Why do you ask me if I'm gay? What the hell, man? Why would you ask me, of all people? Me, I exude masculinity. Everything I do makes you want to listen to the cowbell. Yeah. This isn't YMCA, buddy. David, do you remember me recommending you buy U.S. Steel? It was $7 a share. Now it's over $16. It was $20 a few days ago. Victor, I do remember that, but I don't really want to buy anything. I don't invest in any stocks. That's for people who really are greedy and materialistic. Are you greedy and materialistic, Eric? Or Victor? Sorry, Victor. No, I'm not a younger Donald Trump. That's like saying I'm an older Andy Kaufman.
I've heard all these things you've been saying about me on television. You want to wrestle me? You want to wrestle me, man, for style? All right, fine. I'm not afraid of you, Mr. Lawler, because let me tell you something. It's true, I only wrestle women, but I've wrestled women that are a lot bigger and stronger than you. Matter of fact, they're probably smarter than you because you don't have any brains. You're from Mayo.
Yeah, so obviously I'm not Andy Kaufman. If I were a younger Bernie Sanders, I'd have to be Jewish, and I'd have to walk around going, I've got to make this better for everybody. The thing is, we all have to get our money that we deserve, even though we didn't do anything to get that money. We all need more money from the rich people. It's the rich people that are taking the money, like the guy that sold me that R8. He was rich, I could tell. I saw him at the car dealership. It was amazing. He has a beautiful R8, by the way. It's a $175,000 car. It's the rich people. I'm telling you. It's all about the rich people. It's not a bad approximation. Yeah, you want to see his car? Then we'll get on to some more important news items. I think it's important that everyone knows that he's driving this amazing car. I mean, how many socialists do you know that can drive an Audi R8? It's amazing. $175,000 car for a socialist. He wants a full day's pay for a half day's work. I'm scaring you. Why, Jackson? He's a socialist, man. He's going to love your money. He wants your money, and yeah, that's right. He drives a nice R8, man. David, not everyone is financially secure like you. I'm trying to help people who want and get more out of life. Victor, what makes you think I'm financially secure? We're all like 5-something away from complete economic collapse. For you, it might be $5. For me, it might be 5 trillion. Either way, I still feel the pain. I'm not sure what Sanders is going on. He's pretty messed up. Sanders is just trying to take your money. He wants the Democrats' money too. He's suing them. He will raise taxes big time across the board. And so will Donald. Donald's about making money. Donald doesn't really have a moral guidepost that I can see. He used to party with sex slaves or whatever the hell they were over at in Studio 54. Oh, he's got one sordid past. Let me tell you about Donald. Just take a moment. It won't take you long. This is from dailymail.com. Dark tales of molesting beauty queens and raping his ex-wife. Now, these are allegations that are being made about him. I'm not saying these things about him. I don't know. I've never been into one of his sex parties. But Donald's no nightclub had as a debauched reputation as Studio 54 in the Manhattan of the late 70s. Film stars, financiers, mobsters, and politicians were all welcome to indulge in a hazy wonderland of money, drugs, and sex. For one young man obsessed with pursuing beautiful women and becoming super rich, the club was his mecca. Said he would watch, this is what Donald Trump said, he said, I would watch supermodels getting screwed, well-known supermodels getting screwed, on a bench in the middle of the room, he recalled breathlessly. There were 7 of them, and each one was getting screwed by a different guy. He later claimed he slept with so many women in those heady years that the danger he faced of getting AIDS or other sexually transmitted diseases was his personal Vietnam. Personal Vietnam. That man was Donald Trump, the rapacious and unashamedly vulgar property tycoon who has won over conservative America, or shall I say, Nazi America. Yeah, people who are voting for Donald Trump at this point, I would call Nazis, flat out. He wants to ID Muslims. He wants to set up deportation forces. He read Hitler's speeches when he was married to Ivana. It was in the deposition in his court case, his divorce. I don't want to sound like Charlie Sheen, but I'm working on my Donald. I just can't get there. There's something about sucking so many different corporate tits at one time that makes your mouth kind of pucker up. I can't quite get the pucker going. I'm working on it. You drove by your record storage today. What's record storage? Hey, if you do a drive-by, you might be on our cameras. We record all the cars around our house on a redundant server in the Netherlands. I shouldn't have told you. I'm sorry. So your license plate was seen. You're a general in Trump army? You're coming to get me? Is that a threat? I'm going to record that as a threat. Should I do that? Because if you get near me, you realize I can blow your head off if you put us in a vulnerable position inside of our house, trapped. I hope you understand that having your head blown off isn't exactly a good thing. Seriously, if you trap us or put us in mortal danger, I won't hesitate to blow your brains out. I'm not a violent man, but I mean, seriously. Yeah, all over the entire wall. You think I've got pellets? That's funny. How do you feel about betrayal of Chiang Kai-shek? I never had a relationship with Chiang Kai-shek. But no, these kind of comments will be recorded as threats. If it gets any worse, we will report you. I don't do impressions of Jim Carrey. He does impressions of me. He doesn't know it yet. Yes, I'm being censored. It's called censored. I think you know what censored is, 468. No, George W. Bush can't run for president again. Well, the fact that you don't even want to fight for me to get seen outside of the blogosphere, not you, the people that have been fighting to get me seen, but the ones that don't want me to be seen outside of the blogosphere, you can blame yourself for not having any solutions come in 2020 or 2016. Yes, it's oppression, man. I'm living in a concentration camp called America. You may think you have freedom, but it's all just a ruse. It's a facade. What you really have is controlled and predictable. What you have is clearly the Matrix, Mr. Anderson. It rules everything in your life. You watch the television. You told what to buy, the luxury items that will make your family happy. You have no idea what you really are being told to do is not going to help you in any way. Whatever, we're moving on. The fact is, your thoughts and your ideas are probably being generated by your connection to cable TV. Even things that you talk about and think about. You notice that you ever get this feeling like you got a song in your head that keeps rolling around in your head? Yeah, that's because it is rolling around in your head over and over again. It's called brainwashing. And many years ago, in Nazi Germany, they determined that certain syncopated harmonies will affect the mind. For instance, I can play something right now for you to listen to. It's true. And you will change your entire persona. Watch as I take you on a journey of fantastic and enjoyable love triangles.
Cease your senseless chatter.
Sorry. I just had love triangle on my mind. Why did I have that on my mind? Was that some sort of a non sequitur or something? Yeah, I mean, I can play some music right now to get you going. But there's a lot of good music out there. That's right. Music changes the dimension of your life. And listen to music to kind of change that song that's rolling over in your head. Listen to something new. If I play that too long, they'll monetize it. It's unbelievable. They monetize everything. Pretty serious story about the Trumpster. Let me ask you a question. Do you think these women look happy? Is she a Russian spy? Is Melania a Russian spy? Some people are saying she might be. So you want this guy as our president? Seriously. This is taken at the exact same time. All these pictures. Look at Ivana's face. The eyes say a lot. They say the Native Americans said they're the windows to the soul. And what about Melania? Is she after power like she was when she posed nude in those magazines? Money and power seems to be a high priority for the Trump family. But I'll tell you something, our country would be in terrible straits if you allow Donald Trump to win this election. So we've got to build a third party and split the vote, because Trump doesn't have any real verbal competitors with Bernie or Hillary. I'm the only person who can take down the Trumpster in a verbal debate. I'm sure of it. Because I can't stop. I'm relentless. And we know all the weak points of the Republicans now.
We can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight.
And I'm the only guy out there who's talking about the chemtrail problem. Unlike Hillary, who won't admit anything, any wrongdoing, I'm not only willing to say that they're spraying us like insects, but they really are spraying us like insects. And I don't have a sordid past like Hillary and Donald. And I've got the best woman possible with me. Sarah, she could be the first female president, not Hillary. I can't think of a better person than Sarah as the first female president. You want that as your first lady or first female president? I mean, seriously. I mean, this is scary. And look at all the reasons not to vote for Trump. Thank you. Yeah, it's always good to play a song to kind of like break things up. It was getting boring. All right, so you think that Trump is a good guy if he has 3 wives in his life, 4 bankruptcies, corporate bankruptcies? I mean, this guy's been all over the place. Avoiding the draft all those years. Created a fake university. Took money from people to claim that they were going to be financial successes. I mean, come on. You got to be crazy to vote for somebody who's a 1%er who's literally borrowed most of his money. At a time when our country is nearly, $19 trillion in debt, you've got a spendthrift and a guy who wants to spend your money, Bernie Sanders. And then a woman who just loves money. She's sucking it in, Clinton Initiative. My goodness, she funnels all her charities to her own initiative. It's unbelievable. And of course, there's one other reason. My hair is better than Trump's. Thank you so much. I knew you'd recognize that. I did. I got swatted about 8 months ago. Some kid called up the local law enforcement people, and they didn't know enough to call me in advance to verify that it wasn't me. And they sent their entire team out here at a cost of about $30,000. Threatened all the neighborhood, claiming there was a live shooter without any evidence of a live shooting. And then forced Sarah and I to leave our show for 10 minutes. It was horrific. I got back in the show and I kept going as if nothing happened. But the whole team, 15 guys, went through the house with armed weapons, with laser sightings, their fingers on the trigger. It was unbelievable. Most people would be freaked out, but I lived in L.A. I moved up here about 20 years ago from Los Angeles, but I was in the L.A. riots and a lot of other things. I experienced some pretty tough times, so, the swatting in my house is like a day in the park. It's not a big deal. But I was still traumatized, and so was Sarah, so.
New jobs could be coming to a King Soopers near you. Kroger is holding a nationwide hiring event to fill 14,000 open positions across the country.
Wow.
Candidates can apply online. We have a link on 9news.com.
Kroger's hiring people. Isn't that amazing? Why would they hire 14,000 people? I mean, I guess business must be good. Maybe they acquired a lot of new employees or something, or need for new employees with buyouts. A lot of places have been bought out recently. Yeah, it's just one of those things that keeps stores in my area are restructuring. One company got approval for 125 store mergers. 4 months later, declared bankruptcy. Somebody in this organization, and Milko, I thought I explained to you no derogatory statements in the room. Thank you. About us. Stick to the issues. Try not to paint me out to be anything but great. Otherwise, get the hell out of the show. David, do you ever watch porn? And would Obama or Trump admit to watching it? I doubt Obama or Trump would even talk about it. Trump, as you can see, has had a sordid relationship. He actually admits to having, seen women and men having sex in Studio 54. These were quotes from Donald Trump. You didn't read this? I was reading it to you earlier. Just read that. Thank you. But of course people have seen porn. Everybody's seen a little porn on their email. One person, I got an email claiming I needed to enlarge my penis. And I thought that was a joke or something. Yeah, look at this link, folks. If you don't know about the gangbang activity of Trump, check that out. You need to check it out. Yeah, I don't want to belabor the point because I can't corroborate it. It's hearsay. I try to stick to facts, but I think it's pretty accurate. Well, boys will be boys, yeah. But the fact is, we're all human. And I must tell you, if we're prone to having sex with other people and cheating on our wives, and he's even said that don't be surprised if there are charges of indiscretion. That hasn't even appeared in the mainstream media yet. So these stories are still sitting in the blogosphere. His name is on Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book, which is a list of all the people that Jeffrey Epstein hooked up with prostitutes. So Donald Trump can't correct that. He's been outed already. The Butler released the book. It's already been put in print. It's all over the place. He's trying to rework a disinformation campaign to claim he wasn't involved, but he's getting ready for that. This will take Trump down and Hillary, because Jeffrey Epstein, the known sex pedophile who has a place called Orgy Island and hobnobs with the richest people in the world, he's been protected by that money. And it's just a question of time before it comes back to not only him, but Bill Clinton. And of course, Hillary covers for Bill, so she can't make this an issue. Even though it really would push Donald Trump down in the polls when they find out, he can't bring it in. Milko, I mean, I really don't want you to be in the show if you want to just come in here and make fun of what I believe in. Yeah, I think it's true that Renee Zellweger is not 5'9". But the woman who is now Renee Zellweger, who clearly is not Renee Zellweger, is 5'9". Yet the facts on Renee Zellweger says she's 5'4", and that went up 1 inch from last year. Last year it said Renee was 5'3". And if you're of the belief, seriously, and looking at photos, that this is the same woman, then there's no hope for you. How would she possibly lower her nose and her eyebrows? You're going to hear about Renee Zellweger for at least 5 seconds now. Yeah, if you really think that's the same woman, who's the woman on the far left of the picture is 5'9", the woman closest to me is 5'3", and you're saying that's the same person, and everything's just the way they want us to believe. You're a complete imbecile, Melko. You really are. You just don't have what it takes, I guess. What happened to the real Renee? She's probably terminated. She probably knew too much about the cocaine underworld of Hollywood. I got a little close to the cocaine underworld of Hollywood, being I didn't do cocaine. I used to work in Hollywood, and I was told by my production crew that I had to buy a gram every week. I say, I don't do cocaine. And they told me, no, you need to buy a gram, or you're going to lose your job. I was like, what? Was this the mob or something? The next day I lost my job. I'm not for Guantanamo. I'm telling you what really is happening. You can't close the Guantanamo base. It can't be done. I told everybody in the room in 2008 that. I've told everybody today that. You can't close it. I'm not for keeping it open. I'm just saying we can't close it. I really do. Of course I believe that Renee was replaced. Yes, why wouldn't I? You really believe that that's facial reconstructive surgery, including the neck muscles and all the... Well, then why does she not have... This isn't a unique quality in a person's body. If you really believe that's Renee, then her collarbone was replaced? Is that what you're saying? This entire area of her body doesn't appear on the other side. So you're saying that her collarbone was replaced and shaved down, and they managed to make her 6 inches taller? That's what you're saying? Well, in my picture, they're the same face size, not height. You see, you have to line up their faces in order to get a valid assessment. So I did the comparison. I did the hairline and the chin line perfectly. In fact, you can see I even gave Renee, the original Renee, a little extra room on the chin line. There's a little extra space there, and it still didn't line up at all. Nothing did. You've got to be absolutely retarded if you believe that Renee Zellweger is still Renee Zellweger. I hope you're kidding. Many of you have no absolute clue as to how we've been lied to by the elitists, do you? You come in here thinking that everything's just the way you're told on television, that Fox and CNN are the two news networks you rely on, and all the information they say is good and true and honest. None of it's true or honest. Almost all of it's spin. Almost all of it. And the reason why they're doing this is because they're in charge. And if they're in charge, they're going to put some really sick, satanic, evil people in charge of this country. And you're going to take your vote. If you vote for Hillary or Donald, you're going to take your vote and dump it down the toilet. I mean, this is a toilet vote here. Your 2016 vote will be in the toilet if you vote for either one of those two people. You might as well just throw them away. That's why I'm urging you to write my name in. If we can get a recount in our country that would change the dimension of our future. If we're never going to get accountability from the Diebold voting system, it's already been proven to be hackable. So a write-in vote is the only vote, in my opinion. Anyway, we got great ideas for the country. I found out recently that our government's been making these solar panels in the military. And I thought, wow, this is perfect. Because we have a wonderful idea to get these things up and running in every house in America. But it's a lot more just talking about it. You see, there's so many things that we need to do that we can't wait for Congress to make happen, that I constructed this concept of building up existing houses, renovating them, and getting them out there for people to buy and giving people a job fixing them up. No, I don't believe any of these internet theories too quickly. It's taken 7 years for me to believe in some of them. So why don't you focus on the issues instead of me, or I will ban you again. Yeah, there's a limiter on our show. I don't know if any of you have experienced this tonight, but whenever people come into the show, they get this capacity server thing. Many people want to go off the grid. Exactly. So leave us the bleep alone. I agree 100%. Thank you, Jackson. I don't care about the viewers. God, you people just don't get it, do you? I'm being broadcast across the globe. All they need is one single signal of me, and they take it and run it in front of 200 to 300 million people. Actually, 2 million people. But someday, who knows? You never know. I know. Well, it's not just making you go by VIP. That's just make-believe. That's just to make you think that, hello, Japan, welcome. Yeah, this is global, man. This has nothing to do with the Vaughn Network anymore. We blew past the Vaughn Network months ago. Thank you for all of your support across the globe, too, folks. So we want to see ideas that will help survive the test of time. Thank you, Sagami. We want to see a change in our country, and we want solutions and changes that makes common sense to people, not some way to pad the pocket of rich people like Hillary and Trump. So we have a much better approach to this thing. And because I knew I was censored 8 years ago, I created this character, Broken St. Obamas. And we've even got a website dedicated to all the satire I could produce in 2014 in a short period of time. Because it's very difficult for me to go into blackface. And I did it in 2008, and I made 2 quick 3-minute videos, of which I have a perfect recording of each one. There aren't good recordings of them anymore. I've probably got the good recordings of one, the only one out there. The one that they tried to censor me on YouTube with. And that's our website. Thank you. And my website for YouTube videos for the blackface is youtube.com/David John Sponheim with a Jon. So if you want to check those out, it's good political satire, and I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm completely respectful of black people. But in no way can you suppress my freedom of speech in a country that claims to be free and open. And you know what I have to deal with every day? I have people coming into the show threatening to kill me. I have people threatening violence. I don't hate black people. I needed to impersonate the worst possible president in our history. And if you don't recognize he's the worst possible president, then you probably voted for him. Recasting show in Vietnam with Vietnamese subtitles. Wow. Thank you. You can't post your link here, but that is awesome. Nothing tasteless about impersonating a black president that's been horrible. What if we had a white president for the past 8 years and I did a white face impersonation? Would you be calling me a racist? Say I put a white face, obviously I'm black, but say I dressed up like a Caucasian. I know. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. We're all African American. The whole world is. Yes, Sarah can say no comment anytime she wants. Haven't you always wanted a commercial narrated by John Lennon in which Ringo Starr lands a flying saucer on the roof of Capitol Records? Well, you have it now. It's a 1974 Ringo Starr commercial.
Advertising his new album Goodnight Vienna on Apple Records and Tapes?
It certainly is, John.
Wow, you look so wonderful.
Thank you.
I was born in the north of England. I was raised in a working town. I broke all the rules when I went to school, but the teachers couldn't pin me down.
That is cool. I'm sure I'll be hit with a monetization charge if I go beyond 23 seconds. So that is pretty interesting. Never knew that was even happening. Well, no, they didn't. The human genome originated in a place off the coast of Africa called Madagascar, in a small area called Eden. And the first man and woman were African American. Adam and Eve. According to it, obviously evolutionists believe this. But you Christians, I did not mean to imply that you're in any way African American. Whatever. It doesn't matter where you came from. No, I don't have a cold sore on my lower lip. It's just my lovely smile. What the hell's wrong with you, man? Calling me I have wet lips. I wear press-on veneers. Give me a break. You call this bald? I have beautiful hair, man. You couldn't even get hair close to this if you tried. Again, Sarah Bach, a.k.a. Melco, just changing your name doesn't give you the ability to come in and say the same thing over and over again. Blackface will go down in history as the smartest political move in American history. I do have beautiful hair, yeah. Who loves you, baby? Who loves you, baby? Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about a lot of things tonight on our show. We're going to talk about the dark tales of beauty queens and raping an ex-wife. Donald Trump's dark history of racism, cozying up to the mafia, you name it. Now, actually, I'd rather talk about the issues. But if you want to read about this, you go right ahead. Check it out. Yes, I don't get dry lips. Sarah gets dry lips. I seem to have wet lips all the time. Somebody said I look like Howdy Doody. I thought that was a little weird. Yeah. Howdy Doody clearly does not in any way look like me. It's ridiculous to go out there and claim people are somebody they're not. But let's talk about the issues. Let's bring those up right now. Well, this right my Louisiana lawyer suit. This is my my look for Truth Tuesday.
You right. Go, baby.
I think I look more like Lurch. You know, if you compare me to some of the iconic characters of the past, I mean, you can see my facial features are almost identical. Lurch, you rang. I am the equivalent of Lurch in so many different ways. Number one, AOL. We finally made it number one. Thank you so much, guys. Well, it's about time we made it. We wanted to get the numbers up, so it took a long time. After all the censorship on this network, it's amazing. Okay, let me get to the newest discussion on GMOs. As you know, genetically modified organisms are the number one problem around the world. It's one of the reasons why the Trans-Pacific Partnership is being pushed, because they're trying to push Monsanto and Dow on Europe, and they're saying no to GMOs. As you know, I'm against GMOs, and none of the other candidates are against GMOs. I'm the only one. So that's interesting. They're all in the back pocket of Monsanto and Dow, and now they got 7 new toxic genetically modified crops up for government approval. Just when you thought that this would go to rest, they're hell-bent on producing nothing but pesticide producers like the corn, the BK corn. The BT corn product is a dangerous corn product that's actually more like a pesticide when you eat it. Or the herbicide resistors, like glyphosate resistant and Roundup Ready crops. It turns out, and I'm going to get into the 7 in just a second, it turns out that, here's the link, there's 9 different types of predatory weeds that are resistant to glyphosate. So even if they put out Roundup Ready GMO corn or food products like soybeans, there's 9 predatory weeds that'll still take them down. So our government is engaged in bad science, which is more of a carryover of the weapons industry for the 1940s. Dow Chemical was a weapons producer, by the way, a chemical weapons producer, as was Monsanto and DuPont and others. And these organizations, they don't go away once they start making money. And they make lots of money on their money. So we've got a permanent growth industry in the most heinous crime on earth, which is killing mankind. Do you see the problem politically that we have now? We have to break the back of big industry that's still lingering from the 1940s. We haven't elevated out of the 1940s in our mentality in this country, and the rest of the world are going, what is wrong with America? Anybody who's traveling around my house would be on security cameras, of course. Yeah, don't hang around my house. It would be a bad idea. I am calm. So Amazon is getting close. This is an interesting thing. Amazon is getting close to taking aim at the YouTube audience. They're coming up with Amazon Video Direct. As a side note, I just wanted to go on a little tangent here. We'll feature this on Technology Thursday. But Amazon is launching this video service called Amazon Video Direct. I did not know that. Okay, so let's take a look at what they are. The government has made a whole new batch of GMO products ready for approval. September 11th deadline is around the corner for a new round of herbicide-resistant genetically modified organisms. Okay, glyphosate-tolerant soybeans. And Bayer's petitions to force its new controversial herbicide isoxluflutol-tolerant soy on the market conceals crucial information about potentially allergenicity and toxicity that came to light when the EU experts examined the GMO soybean. So people have been finding they're toxic to this stuff. Unbelievable. And number two, another tolerant canola they're pushing. Glyphosate tolerant canola. These are the real problems with GMO products. They're being made to resist and absorb glyphosate. So when you ingest that, it goes in your body and causes little tumors, and then you die. I have no idea about Hoppy. I have not seen or talked to Hoppy in a long time. He came into the chat room a month or so ago. Yeah, I have no friendship going on with that guy. He basically deceived me for about 1.5 years, 2 years, claiming he was NSA. Absurd. He should have been charged with the crime. What car is stolen? You've been watching my house. The car is stolen. Oh, so you're watching my house with a car that's stolen. That's pretty funny. I can swim about comfortably a mile without, any stoppages. I mean, you can swim probably 40 miles if you have to. So the 728 claimed he killed my koi fish. Well, I'm going to ban you, man. Yeah, you're out of here. Innocent man stands up to entire SWAT team raiding his house with no warrant and he wins? I didn't want to put Sarah at risk, but if I'd been alone the day that they swatted me, I probably would have done the same. They've got tolerant corn, number 3, hybrid corn, Monsanto's petition. All this stuff is available for you to look at, all these things that the government's trying to stick in your mouth. High-yield soybeans, non-browning apple, and a rootworm-resistant corn is all being pushed on the American population. Kind of sad. And now, an innocent man stands up to an entire SWAT team. Let's take a look. Yeah, my real concern was Sarah. I didn't want anything, to happen, and I couldn't believe that people were. It doesn't matter if I ban. 65 viewers, I could have 2 viewers. It wouldn't matter on this network. He could censor me all night, all day. I'm already reaching millions of people around the globe. I've gotten beyond the limitations of the censors. I've broken through. We kind of congratulated ourselves in January because this was happening. I'm really elated that you world viewers are watching, and you have friends in America. You can tell them about us. Oh, see, this is just BS. I'm not going to come up with any story about Trump worrying about assassination and all that. No, we don't really take anybody on our show anymore like that. We're trying to minimize fear mongers. We want people that actually support solutions for our country. I would close guest chat if I really wanted to, but I kind of like their input. We don't allow fear mongers on our show anymore. There was a time when we actually allowed them. And one of the things that really bothered me about Dr. Mount, number one, his Dr. Mount position, his PhD is from a very, very strange place. He wrote 1.5 pages, and he claims that Vladimir Putin gave him his PhD from an organization called the Oxford Educational Network. Not Oxford College, no affiliation. That bothers me. It took you 400 refreshes to get in. Look at this. Admiral couldn't even get in. Wow. That's too bad, Admiral. See how I don't hold any grudges? Remember you were saying some bad stuff about me the other night, and I'm welcoming you in the show? That's a unique quality, I've never contradicted myself. I've had an issue that I'd changed my mind on. I was going to institute an assault weapons ban when I first started, and I reversed it. I would never reinstate the assault weapons ban, not from what I've seen. I'm looking at an overtaking totalitarian government. I don't want a bigger police state. I want to shrink the police state. That's one of the reasons why I'm running for president. I'm sick and tired of these two parties endorsing a police state and allowing elitists outside of our country to control our nation. That's what's happening. They want full control over all the individuals in this country, and they're positioning themselves for a takedown. And this whole party is standing up to that. Just like the innocent man here stands up to an entire SWAT team. On Thursday morning, an Odessa man and his family were rudely awakened by a dozen militarized DEA and SWAT officers with AR-15s at their front door. Instead of cowering to the men, who were clearly not authorized to be there, this man stood his ground and sent them on their way. He said, "We were rudely awakened, and they just started banging on the door," and said the man who wished to remain anonymous in an interview. Yeah. Ector County SWAT team was assisting the DEA in a raid on Tripp Avenue when they simply decided to move to the next house and attempt to enter without a warrant. Well, the next house belonged to this innocent man. He began filming as soon as they started entering without a warrant, giving them a piece of his mind. After their verbal beating, the cops finally left, but not before one of them flipped him off. Wow, talk unprofessional.
I was rudely awoken by all this group of gentlemen right here. No search warrant. No search warrant. What's your name, boss? Border Patrol. Border Patrol raided my house. Inside your house. Dude, you're on my property, boss. You're on my property. You're stepping. Okay, you better get the out of my property right now. You too, boss. You too, all y'all.
I can't really say that's the right way to handle a situation like that, because honestly, if you resist, some of them don't just, back away. It could be a recipe for, a major problem. When it happened to me, you've gotten 206 viewers in Vietnam. Thank you very much, 187. Guess 187 is working on the Vietnamese viewers. It's not a diploma mill. It's called Oxford Educational Network. And I went to Dr. Mount's house 7 years ago to verify everything. What really bothers me about him is he joined the Lucis Trust Fund. Now, we know that Lucis Trust Fund has its origins in believers in Lucifer. And they're working at the UN as a roster-level group, handling publications and bookings for the United Nations. When he signed his soul over to Satan, I lost respect for him. It's just the way it is. That's how I feel. He joined the Lucis Trust Fund, yeah. And all of a sudden, it instantly created a YouTube hit for him because everyone was calling him names. And now he's got a lot of YouTube revenue from this. And this brings up an important point. YouTube is essentially working for the government. It actually is run by the Navy. And nobody in America knows this except for the military. And the NSA uses YouTube all the time. But what they're doing is they're running an operation called COINTELPRO. Now, they could easily funnel money through Skunkworks Productions to Alex Jones. And continue this charade that Alex does, and they do that. They pay him $9 million a year to continually push out some truth and some falsehood. But what they found with YouTube and AdSense is they're able to actually push fearmongers to a whole nother level. And Mount is really raking in the dough from that right now. And AdSense is being used by the government agents to essentially turn our nation into well, the best way to describe it is fearful. Everyone is fearful. So, the Dr. Mount College, let's see if I can find that for you. Hang on. We looked it up. I wanted to vet every bit of information I got. I got to know Dr. Mount pretty well. He used to call on our show in Mondays, and we actually called it Mount Monday 7 years ago. And then I changed the name to Conspiracy Monday because all he would do is talk about conspiracies with no verification whatsoever. I couldn't generate any truth out of anything he said. And yeah, I mean, I think they're moving around quite a bit. It's some sort of an evangelical Episcopal university. He claimed he went to Russia and got a degree from Vladimir Putin because he claimed he saved Vladimir Putin. So, this is the organization that he claims he's part of, I guess. Yeah, I didn't believe it, but I mean, I did photograph the copy that he has, and it's all verifiable, but anyway, to claim you got a doctorate in something after writing a page and a half, and then other people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get their degree and go up against you, it's just a little bit over the top for me. And this affiliation with a satanic organization. You sent 20 viewers from Japan. Thank you, Alan. Yeah, we've got over probably close to 2 million people. So even me talking about him on our show is kind of giving him freebies and hits on his internet site. So he's just into the money. I found that out. He really likes money. He believes the government owes him money. He thinks that the government took his house, even though he still owns the paperwork on it. So a lot of things just don't add up. But he's making a lot of money on AdSense, fearmonger. Hey, Australia to forcibly vaccinate citizens via chemtrail. This story came in the show 3 nights ago. It's worth looking at again. This really, it truly is going to happen. News, truth, unfiltered here. Australia has approved the license application from big pharma company Paxvax that will allow them to intentionally release a GMO vaccine consisting of live bacteria onto Queensland via chemtrails. See, the elitists are using their satellite nations like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the US to start implementing their plan of chemtrail spraying everywhere. Yeah, it doesn't matter, John. Vaughn is trying to censor me here. One guy, Admiral, had to hit the refresh 400 times to get in here. Vaughn is keeping literally hundreds and hundreds of people are trying to get in this room right now. 1808 says he refreshed 100 times. I'm not making this up. What's over 699? Is that a threat? We don't allow threats in the chat room. Make your threats in writing and I'll pass it on to my attorney. He can serve you. He loves to serve people. He's a good attorney too. Helicopter flight over what remains of Fort McMurray. This terrible devastation up in Alberta is documented here in this helicopter flight. Let's take a look. I have a popular channel because I've got popular issues to talk about. Thank you very much, guys. Jackson 69. This is what we're talking about. They're killing off an area of Alberta that they want to do a uranium mining, and they're trying to get rid of all the houses there. Apparently this is a big core of uranium that Uranium One wants to mine, so they've managed to set numerous fires in this area to trigger some sort of a breakdown in the Canadian... the story behind this is really very weird. Apparently there's an effort to mine uranium in this area. It's uranium rich. Yeah, the fire looks to be planned. It's connected somehow to the Clinton initiative too, and to Russia buying uranium rights. It's a very weird story. Yeah, it's government planned, I know. And that's one of the reasons why Trudeau has not accepted any outside help in cutting back the fire. He's turned down 2 nations. France and Russia have helped to bring fire crews in. They don't want to. That's what I heard. He didn't allow them in. He did turn down 2 nations. So he wants these houses to burn because he wants to cash in. The global world order wants to mine uranium, and you can't have houses there when you're mining uranium, can you? David showed this one Friday night after show. Yeah, I got that. All right, Mad Dog. We got that last night. That's in my Patriot section. Dr. Cleon. Let me make sure he's properly. Yep, he's marked as a patriot. China's betrayal by the U.S. after World War II. Take a look at that Friday night. Thanks. What do you think, guys? Permanent destruction of all these homes. They'd rather cash these people out and take the property. And yeah, we saw that green-eyed girl. There's a mentally handicapped cooking show on right now. I know. Nighty-night, everyone. Take care, Mad Dog. Good night's sleep. Rest up so you can get to work again. He works so hard at the morgue. Gotta hand it to you, Mad Dog. You're doing the right thing, though. Hang in there. iPhone. Tip could save your life. This should be good. Now, many of you know that RF frequencies do contribute to brain cancer. I hope you understand that. The director of the World Health Organization has openly stated that your cell phones can contribute to brain cancer. Again, Melko, coming in under 3 different names, Sarevok and Melko and now Dialectic. I mean, could you be a little more predictable? I mean, geez. I don't have any hemorrhoids. Never did. Like, how are your hemorrhoids healing? Is that a yes or... It's a trick question. Yes or no? Have you stopped beating your wife? If you say no, you haven't stopped. And a yes, you have stopped. It implies you beat your wife. Okay, the iPhone tip could save your life. This is another tip. Let's take a look. You just never know what's going to happen to you. A perfectly healthy person can be suddenly struck by a congenital heart problem they didn't know they had, or a speeding vehicle can appear out of nowhere, and through the combination of a blind spot and a moment's distraction, it's possible to never see it coming. A perfectly normal day can and end in tragedy without warning. I don't say all these simply to frighten you. It's worth thinking about the plan, blah, blah, blah. Okay, specifically your allergies. Any medical conditions you have and your next of kin is. Your best hopes of survival depends on this information. You should have known information in your wallet about your allergies. Well, then they go to your phone, right? If you're not displaying a medical alert bracelet or any card with your information on it, then yes, they probably will take a look. But in all likelihood, they're all going to be greeted with this screen. Enter passcode. What's your password? 1234 5678. There's lots of good reasons to lock your phone, but this is where it can be a problem. It leaves paramedics in an enviable position without knowing your allergies or conditions. Well, the answer lies in the iPhone's health app. It turns out that it does a lot more than keep track of how many stairs you climb, but how can paramedics access it through the lock screen? Here you can enter all the information on your medical ID cab. And what most people don't know is paramedics will be able to see it if you enable the show when locked option. So you want to enable show when locked option when you use this. I'm so glad I got rid of my cell phone. I don't get radio frequencies constantly anymore. In fact, we put our Wi-Fi outside of our studio with a big metal barrier in front of it. I don't sit very long. I'm actually very active all day long. I've got about an acre and I have to keep the property trimmed, so I have an electric mower, and that involves a lot of bending because I got to swap batteries, and it's not exactly easy to cut the grass, mow the lawn with an electric mower, but I enjoy it. I'm not breathing fumes. It's more green friendly. I don't own a Marguerite. I don't drink. Is there a homeowners association? Yes, I live in an area with a homeowners association. I have never had any hemorrhoid or prostate problems because I get up and work out all the time. I'm like constantly on the move. I work out, I swim every day, 3 times a day. I'm running for president. And I'm even running in this chair. Okay, so I basically am questioning how does this affect the economy? Let's talk about the economy. I'm open to questions. As you know, I can respond to at least 15 questions within a minute. All you have to do is ask the question and I'll respond in cue time. Well, let's be clear. And I told you not to print pictures of naked women here. You know how disturbing that is? And that's you don't want to make fun of her. She's a very fragile person right now. She got kicked out of that convent she was working at. They're claiming she's a prostitute. Yeah. Don't pick on her, really. She's challenged. Because I don't want to burn gas, 765. I don't like the smell of the fumes going in my mouth when I'm sitting there in my big easy chair. I mean, what does George W. Bush do right now? What's his life all about? Ladies and gentlemen, we bring you Aldous Huxley. Live.
State. Let's become more immediate, more urgent about it. We believe, anyway, that we live in a democracy here in the United States. Do you believe that this brave new world that you talk about could, let's say, in the next quarter century, the next century, could come here to our shores?
I think it could. I mean, that's why I feel it's so extremely important here and now to start thinking about these problems, not to let ourselves be taken by surprise by the new advances in technology. I mean, for example, in regard to the use of the drugs, we know there's enough evidence now for us to be able, on the basis of this evidence and using a certain amount of creative imagination, to foresee the kind of uses which could be made by people of bad will with these things, and to attempt to forestall this. And in the same way, I think with these other methods of propaganda, we can foresee and we can do a good deal to forestall. I mean, after all, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance.
You write in Enemies of Freedom, you write specifically about the United States. You say this, writing about American political campaigns. You say, all that is needed is money and a candidate who can be coached to look sincere. Political principles and plans for specific action have come to lose most of their importance. The personality of the candidate.
Boy, you said a mouthful there. So you're looking at how they're able to generate fake candidates out there. Now you're looking at an authentic, 100% real person here. I'm not in any way modified. I don't filter my language to compete with the censors. I'm not being propped up by some super PAC telling me what to say. I don't appeal to AIPAC for money like Donald and Hillary. I'm not owned. And I am the antithesis of what this man says they can do. And as you can see, he's right. He's right. They can manufacture anybody at any time just to simply create the person that they want to be their puppet. Okay, that's an interesting aspect. Thanks, FJJ18. I'll refer to that in just a second. The skit I did about liberals is over on my YouTube site, which is different than my America's Third Party site because I don't want it to contaminate my my shtick that I do is unrelated to our party's politics, except for the part that I am doing shtick to get noticed. But David John Sponheim is the site you'll find it at. My skit about Democrats against free speech is on there. Thank you. Well, yeah, there is a lot to talk about how they've been able to design the presidents and pretty much put them out there. Ever since Ronald Reagan, I think we've had puppet presidents, including Ronald Reagan. I think they chose him because of his speaking ability, reading off of a teleprompter. And he really became the quintessential teleprompter reading president. Well, most of my information comes from Don Regan, and he's slipping me a little postcard right now. Let me see. Oh, my jelly beans are back in? Well, I ordered 2 bags. You know, so the whole thing is like this guy was completely lost when it came to the Iran-Contra hearings. I mean, he didn't even know what was going on. Cap Weinberger took a couple of years in jail, took the heat for the Iran-Contra hearings. And Reagan was just a puppet. But when he started speaking out against them, and he didn't want to do what they wanted him to do, they sent John Hinckley Jr. after him. And he nearly got killed. And by the way, the court case against John Hinckley Jr., the trial, hi Sarah, they did not mention in the trial that John Hinckley Jr. was at George H.W. Bush's house the night before. It's funny. And this simple fact that wouldn't even mention in a case against a guy who just attempted assassination against Ronald Reagan is a classic, complete oversight, which was completely unnecessary. We should have heard about this. We should have heard about John Hinckley at George H.W. It implicated the vice president, getting rid of the president. There wasn't a bigger bit of information that could have implicated that guy. And there's a lot of dark areas in the history of the Bush family, very dark. Grandfather, this is true, folks. Grandfather Prescott Bush, when he was director and vice president of Union Bank of New York, was prosecuted for laundering Adolf Hitler's money. And that's what's really crazy. Laundering Hitler's money. I mean, you know how we found out? J. Edgar Hoover had the dirt on the Bushes, and he revealed it. But that got pushed aside. J. Edgar Hoover got pushed aside, and the Bushes continued rising to power. But now we've got a bigger problem. We've got Clintons and Trumps that are huge, dynastic names. The 1%ers still vying for the most important position of the nation, with ulterior motives to the nth degree. They've got all kinds of corrupt dollars behind them, and you, the American people, your vote's going to be lost in the Democratic Republican ticket. That's why I'm urging you to write my name in this upcoming election. Sarah is not my daughter. We're companions, but thank you for saying such niceties. 6 former presidents warn about the invisible government running the United States. This is another story. The truth, folks. We're trying to take up your time talking about the truth. So there's a lot of information in the blogosphere that is not getting out there in the mainstream media. When former presidents warn about the invisible government running the United States, I'm not making stuff up when I talk about a shadow government. I got backing here. So yeah, I'm taking on all the tough issues every night, and there's no other person running for president that's stopping chemtrails, GMOs, fluoride in our water system. I'm against all of that. RFID chipping, unnecessary forced vaccinations, all these things make us different than the other two parties. And I'm against war, and I want to legalize pot. So think of me when you think of who to vote for this, the future of our nation. All right. I don't have a daughter named Wee Wee. That's bizarre. So this weird cold that you got about a week ago or so has been kind of like a slow... Describe it.
Like it incubated as a scratchy throat for a week.
A week-long scratchy throat. Have you ever heard of such a thing? I mean, that's really interesting. And finally it turns to head cold and kind of hangs on and lingers. There's still some chicken soup in there, you know.
Yeah.
If you do want a bowl of it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll have some.
We're trying to keep this to a minimum in terms of eating because I found out I gained 10 pounds over the past 2 years.
I'm not a child. Thank you.
Sarah is 38. I'm 56. Get with the program. But the problems that have arisen over the years in our country can be directly pointing at the hidden decisions made by the people behind presidents, the people that were sitting in the Oval Office deciding the fate of our nation. Were probably the worst possible people at various times, but we, the American people, haven't had any oversight. And there was no, like, even this office right here that I'm sitting at. This was what was going on with Ronald Reagan sitting there with the Mujahideen and Charlie Wilson. And in the 1980 era, Ronald Reagan was taking direction from other people and going, well, maybe we should support your effort to stop the Soviet Union and their expansion. Well, we'll fund them with Laz rockets and SAM missile systems, and we'll destroy 17,000 lives. Soviet soldiers will be killed. Okay, how can I write the check out? I mean, so these are the mistakes that are made in our nation's history that are never, ever, we can never rebound from them. We've already gone down that road. That's what led to Osama bin Laden.
I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to get...
All right.
When I was born, but we didn't meet each other until I was 21.
I think it was 20, actually.
Okay, 20.
Because you turned 21.
That's
when you
true.
were, I met you before you turned 21, like right on the edge of 21.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent her flowers for her 21th birthday, roses actually, a bouquet of roses.
Yeah, you did send me roses for my 21st.
Yeah. All I can tell you is what happened with the Mujahideen led to the Al-Qaeda situation, led to all the different flare-ups. And our government seems to have been doing exactly what we did back then, funding terrorists. So if you Americans don't realize, like I have realized, that our country's playing us, triggering terrorist activities or fear of terrorism, let's say that, and then using that as justification for war, then you don't understand what's going on. We're being played. The American people, the American voters are being played. We're being lulled into wars. And the rest of the world is watching going, what is wrong with you Americans? All right, I know you're watching, folks. We're trying to get some intelligence to this nation's political structure. We don't need to be run by an invisible secret government with hidden intentions and corporate decisions. All right. No, jacket pockets. Sarah would, if something were to happen to me, Sarah would go to a remote location and you wouldn't find her.
Nope. Probably only one person in the world that could find me. Yep. Yeah, Sarah is with
Yes.
David forever.
David, will the New World Order start chaos if Trump grows stronger? Trump is the New World Order. You need to figure that out. Clinton is the New World Order. They own both parties. It's that simple. You need to understand that. Just realize that these people are just simple puppets of the New World Order. I'm not. I have no ties whatsoever to secret societies or funding from super PACs like AIPAC. I will not accept money from AIPAC. Sarah's going to give you some more time. I'll be back in just a bit to finish up the show. Thank you, guys.
You're all wonderful. Are you all the same person? You come in here and like, Sarah's nice. Sarah's nice. I'm wondering, are you just like one person with multiple addresses? Multiple people really do like me? Nope. You're all different. All right. Thanks, Alan. So it's Tuesday. I hope you're having a good day. I always have been a nice person. I always go with that like whole mean people suck thing. Like, why? What's the point of being a mean person? I think it's much better to be a nice person. Even when people are mean around me, then sometimes I get mean. But usually, like, you know, like, I don't know, half an hour later, I'll be like, okay, so are we past that you being mean to me type thing? Or you being a mean person? So, I just don't see the point of being mean, and always I try to be nice and try to understand people. Try to be an understanding person. Defense stocks are near highs, expecting a war in the future. Well, that's why, you know, David, that's why I'm here, I guess. So that, you know, David can have a great person that likes everyone, and David can have a person that likes him, and that's it. Thank you for your information, but, you know, the thing is, I would say with those cases, Dr. Sausage, that you're referring to, is there's, like, people that feel trapped or anything like that. I feel like what I do is, like, the kindness of my heart. I'm a good person. So, the real hair? I'm sorry, 147. I'm not. The only kind of hairdo I like is, well, this one guy had this awesome hairdo. It was a mohawk, which was pretty cool. All right, thank you. You want me to release my hair? I did like a guy with a mohawk when I was younger. That's true. But then he cut it off, and I still liked him. But then I guess I acted like I didn't like him, even though I did like him. Do I ever? No, Zellfire. I'm not a big... I do this show to give David breaks because it's his show, so I give, yeah, a little bit. 905, a little bit. Please, I had a crush, yeah. It's just a little crush. It's not like I can't breathe every time I... whatever, touch. Yeah, a little bit like that too, 905. But don't tell everybody that. Yeah, well, I did 676, but you know, most people my age don't go around like with mohawks. My age or older. I mean, most people like grow out of the mohawk thing, but I thought, yeah, at the time it was pretty cool. You still missed your first crush in 7th grade. Aww. I know, because I'm with David, so I don't date anyone else. Thank you, though. Yeah. I don't want you to believe that, 1479. I'm not trying to convince you of that. You're 42 years old and you have a mohawk? Nice. I also liked people that like technology, and I love math. I don't think I really realized that until I was older. So, you're a bad guy from a late 80s Nintendo game. Would I say everyone that knows me would say that I'm a goody-goody? Yes. Totally. Who loves math? I love math. I think it's bizarre that I like math, but it's true. I do like math. It's like, why would someone like that? No, that's not true. Yeah, or 22 divided by 7 is also extremely close to pi. I was thinking the other day because I read somewhere, well, no, I didn't read. I've been watching these videos on math, and it was about, like, one was algorithms and one was, like, the story of maths. And they're all these Netflix video about math. And it was like talking about like the security of the internet, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, I bet 335 divided by 113 is probably way closer than 22 sevenths. Anyway, it was, no, the person that was good at that was someone that I knew, 905, but it was, well, it was pretty cool because it was talking about the, like, prime numbers, and I didn't realize that prime numbers were really important to the security of the internet. And like, I remember listening to this story about a month ago that, like, there's a computer that found the largest prime number to date. And it was like, answer not's question. Is that like a math question? Anyway, oh, no, I'm not going to answer that question. Anyway, and so I didn't realize, like, well, why is it so important that someone that a computer find this huge prime number, until I was watching this video about algorithms, and they're like, it's like, basically prime numbers are the security for the internet. And then there's this other one that was like, that if there's a prime number that's one more than a multiple of 4, so for instance 17, that it's like it's adding up to the 2 other prime numbers. Anyway, it's not 2 other prime numbers, but adding up a prime number squared plus prime number squared. Well, not C party. What I'm gonna let you do is, like, you can think about whatever you think, and you can imagine whatever you want to imagine. I know, I'm totally silly. But that's just who I am. Well, you think you do because you have imagined this. You've, like, created this, like, fantasy in your mind, which might not be true. 355 divided by 113 minus n is less than 3 times 10 to the power of -7. I love constitutional law. It's true too. Irrational numbers could come into play if you're talking about, you're saying irrational voters, but what about irrational numbers? There's a movie coming out about the man who knew infinity. I bet I would like that. there was a gentleman named George Washington Bush who was an African American that settled in Washington State. All right, the Constitution of the United States. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. I don't Skype anyone, and no, I won't marry you because you don't even know me. Not many people know me. Wait, 355 divided by 133 minus by is less than 3 times 10 to the negative 7. Okay, good. Your boyfriend and yourself form a perfect union. Good. I'm totally messing with you guys, but it's all good. Article 1, Section 1. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. I probably would like abstract algebra. Section 2. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people of the several states, and the electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislature. I think D.T. Laura went to bed, or maybe she was reading the Canadian Constitution. Quantum computers are pretty amazing, and they're kind of scary because they can break down prime numbers. In other words, they can ruin the security of the internet. The Constitution does exist. I hold it right here in my hands. Yeah, but I mean, I want to believe in what is here. Can I relate the constitutional law to current examples? Yes, especially the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment can be related to like ballot access law, because basically it says, here, I'll go to the 14th Amendment. Well, actually, the 14th Amendment not only relates to ballot access law, it also relates to the big issues that are happening in North Carolina right now. So here we go. It's really, really long, too. All right, 14th Amendment, Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. So basically that 14th Amendment, even though it was written it was written after the Civil War in order to give the African American people that were freed from slavery and other people that were freed from slavery more power and like basically make sure that they were legal, but the whole issue of equal protection of the laws. So if there's a law that applies to one person, it has to apply to everyone, and that is basically
14th Amendment.
Yeah, that's the 14th Amendment. And the 14th Amendment, how it says, they shall not deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That actually relates today to our immigration policies. So basically, anybody that is actually steps foot onto American soil, if they're in America, then what happens is that they have what's called due process of law protecting them. And so they have to go through our court process, even though they may have in fact committed a wrong. They have to go through our court process. And so that's why I said, instead of tying up our court process and we have limited number of judges, why don't we just make all of our Border Patrol agents federal judges, and then they can actually hold a court. They don't need to go to a courthouse, but they can hold a court session when they see the person come over the border breaking our laws. I have seen Good Will Hunting, and it was kind of about a math genius. Actually, he was another genius too. Let me go back. Maybe you're right. 953. But then you could, according to Article 3, let's look at the Article 3. Yes, separation of powers, that's true. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior and shall, at stated times, receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. So they always get a paycheck too. All right. Section 2. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity arising under this Constitution, the laws of the United States, and treaties made, or which shall be made under their authority, to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies to which the United States shall be party, to controversies between two or more states, between a state and citizens of another state, between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same state, claiming lands under grants of different states, and between the state or the citizens thereof and foreign states, citizens or subjects. But wait, that was changed by the 11th Amendment, so I should go back and check that. The 11th Amendment was: the judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States citizens of another state, or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. What are you saying I'm wrong? I'm just reading the Constitution. How is the Constitution wrong? I know mathematical truths are forever. They're pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing when I was watching The Story of Maths, was like all about the history of math, and I really liked that. And it was about like it went back to Egypt, and then they also talked about like the development of the zero and place value, and that was it in the East. That was a really cool show. Math is pretty fun. -2 squared is 4. But, so the square root of 4 is plus or minus 2. Never know with those squares.
2 negatives can definitely equal a positive.
Yes.
You know, I'm...
negative times negative is positive, but a negative minus a negative
is double negative.
It can be positive, it can be negative. It all depends on the size.
Sarah is the master of the math subject, so I was going to talk about the 13th Amendment. I heard that mentioned earlier.
Well, actually, I was talking about the 14th Amendment, but you can go ahead and talk about the 13th Amendment.
Well, we uncovered some facts in the past few years from various sources, and we have one person who's worked at Google and did a lot of transcribing of documents dating back to the 1800s.
He worked on a project called Project Gutenberg.
Project
if
Gutenberg,
you want to look that up. And he worked, there's this database called Arial.
Yeah.
And he said basically it was, you remember when like Google, but this is like predating Google?
Yeah.
But Google had this idea like, oh, let's scan every book ever written. And anyway, this project before Google got started was also scanning books. Then they wanted to share them between libraries without having to like ship these really incredible books, and also they didn't want to copy and fax them because they know that, you know, with faxing, resolution is lost.
Right. And this document that he found was a school book from the 1820s that had in it the 13th Amendment. And the 13th Amendment prior to the Civil War was not anything to do with slavery. It was preventing lawyers from becoming politicians.
Right. And supposedly that amendment passed and became ratified in part of the Constitution as the 13th Amendment, but then the War of 1812 happened and burned down the Capitol building, and people didn't know that it had actually been ratified. So we'd have to go back in the books and find out if it was.
So the history has been forgotten about the 13th Amendment, and that's an interesting true event that has been shuttered by the revisionist historians who continually ignore it. We will probably access documents at some point that will be uncovered. These documents were originally supposed to be suppressed, and when this person was working at the Google Gutenberg project, he was told to get rid of those documents. Well, he kept copies of them. And it's going to be interesting as we move forward in time, because what we have the opportunity to do with restructuring the order of business in America is we may be able to pull that amendment out and revive it without ratification. It's possible. Anyway, that's just completely up to the constitutional attorneys at the time, but we could make the next amendment in line of whatever successor is out there. But the fact is, lawyers have infested our nation's government. There's a reason why the 13th Amendment didn't want lawyers in our government, because they knew that lawyers had no allegiance. They were part of the bar. The bar was owned and operated out of London, and the city has all control over that, the City of London. So if somebody works for the bar and for our country, they have dual allegiances, and that's strictly forbidden in our Constitution. But it's happened time and time again, where you get people with dual citizenship, like Rahm Emanuel, both Israeli and a U.S. citizen, working as former chief of staff for Obama, these types of things. Anyway, we would really benefit from getting the dark side of our country out of politics. That would really help. The politicians have become contaminated by attorneys. Right, the bar is a British registry, and any person in the bar is Esquire. And once an attorney becomes an attorney, they essentially are joining the English Empire. So it's a clear separation that should be made available to us. All of us should know this, and it was completely shuttled out of the way, the 13th Amendment, and they replaced it conveniently. Very underhanded move right after the Civil War. And you know, when we lost Abe Lincoln, our country took a big hit. When he had his head blown off, or a gunshot blown through it, we took a big hit. When we lost JFK, we took a big hit. If you track both of the deaths of both of those presidents, you'll see our nation dropping in its ability to function according to its republic and its constitution. And it's because we haven't been able to adhere to the original laws that we have strayed with all these attorneys making money on their political structure. Their job is about getting reelected in their minds, not helping you. No, I think any lawyer who's passed the bar, whether they're Esquire or not, in their term, would be any attorney would not be allowed to function in our government anymore. It's that they have no real allegiance. An attorney, you can get an attorney to go support a homicidal maniac and get him and defend him, or a person in the mob who's clearly done wrong things.
The Titles of Nobility Amendment is a proposed amendment to the United States.
Hang on just a second. Let me put it on the screen for all of you to look at. Go ahead.
Okay, it is a proposed amendment to the United States Constitution. It was approved by the 11th Congress on May 1st, 1810, and submitted to the state legislatures for ratification. It would strip United States citizens from any citizenship from any citizen who accepted a title of nobility from a foreign country. On 2 occasions between 1812 and 1816, it was within 2 states of the number needed to become a valid part of the Constitution.
That's debatable. But
Especially
that's a point of
with
reference.
1812, you know.
Yeah, what happened in 1812? Yeah. The ratification by an additional 26 states is needed for this amendment to be adopted. Hey, let's put it out there again. Titles of Nobility Amendment. If
It's
we
actually
can.
still out there because
Yeah. Still there. You just need 26
it
states.
doesn't need a time limit.
You're right. There's no time limit. So it can be ratified. We just need 26 states to do it.
They're
so that's
claiming that it needs 26 states. Why would it need 26 states if it were
It
only
wouldn't.
2 states away in 1812 and 1816?
Well, sometimes they have to reissue. All the states have to re-vote again.
That's not necessarily the case. That's not how the 27th Amendment was adopted.
You're right. You're right. The 27th Amendment is different in so far that they gave themselves a pay raise, and it was an endless opening. They just needed 2 more states or 1 more state to get a pay raise. All Congress now gives themselves a pay raise because of that. Yeah, Abe really had a plan for Reconstruction. The truth is, Abe Lincoln had a wonderful plan to get our country back on track, but, you know, these foreign interlopers that came in and executed him, assassinated him. It turns out John Wilkes Booth may have gotten away. His understudy might have gotten away with the crime. So the truth about that is pretty interesting. John Wilkes Booth was part of a European nobility group that was trying to control our government even as far back as 1812. So they kept coming at us until they got us. And by 1913, the ratification of the Federal Reserve Act, they got us. They got a central bank, and they've got their fingers deep in our banking system. So they control the money. They control the politics. So we, having only one vote at a time and vote in a collective bulk, really have only one opportunity to stop them, and that's through an election, and through an election for an honest president.
Oh, I see why it is only 12 states. So it is 26 states would need to ratify it because it was the size of the country is why it was only 2 states away.
Right. I learned this new exercise. I'm running for president.
It has been claimed that the titles of nobility did become part of the Constitution. It was referred to as the 13th Amendment in some early 19th century printings of the Constitution between 1919 and 1819 and 1867.
Cool.
Even the statutory law code of Virginia included it.
Yeah. Refried bacon. I haven't seen you in a while, man. Yeah.
They say that some of the mistakenly believe this amendment was ratified in 1810s.
Oh, yeah. And some mistakenly believe, well, that's, again, revisionist history. It was ratified in the 1810s, and that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't have put it in a school book if it hadn't been. So we're going to try to get this information to the forefront. I'm going to be meeting this person, I'm not sure when, but he has the documents. He said, David, I want you to look at this. We're going to take pictures of him. He was in the Gutenberg Project, so it's going to be interesting to see what they wanted to suppress, and he was told to get rid of those documents, not scan them, is amazing. So this is you're going to have to come to the conclusion eventually that the people running our country are doing so for their own personal gain, not for us. And if you come to that conclusion, you begin to see the purpose of a third party and why we're even doing this. going to make a modification here. There we go.
So 26 states could still ratify it. But it doesn't necessarily say what you're thinking it says.
No.
It says that anyone who accepts, claim, receive, or retain any title of nobility or honor shall, without the consent of Congress, accept and retain any present or accepts and retains any present, pension, office, or emolument of any kind whatsoever from any emperor, king, or prince or foreign power
shall cease to be a citizen of the United States.
And shall be incapable of holding any office or trust
or profit under them, or either of them. So Tim Geithner would not have been allowed to be Secretary of State or Secretary of Treasury. Tim Geithner was working as president of the Pilgrim Society while he was the Secretary of our Treasury. The Pilgrim Society is the military arm of the Knights of Malta. I'm just telling you the truth tonight, folks. I'm laying it all on the line. You got people, interlopers from England and from the city of London, controlling the very debt that we carry as a nation. And there's a lot of things there's a lot of wiggle room that we could buy for our nation if we could get them out of the control of our monetary system. These people have undermined the value that we already have at the World Bank. Frankly, we've got $40 trillion in gold that we acquired from Germany and Japan in trust for us with somebody at the World Bank. That's how ridiculous this is. It's like America decided to bank with the World Bank, and we basically have our notes carried over there. We borrowed against that money, but it's ridiculous. Why would we borrow against money that's way and above the debt this nation has incurred? 19 trillion is half of 40 trillion. If we've got 40 trillion of gold at the World Bank, then we need to get that information to the forefront so the American people can reallocate their wealth. Our country is being run by a bunch of interlopers and attorneys who work for another organization outside of our country. China is still part of an ongoing trade agreement that we developed when they became First Nation trading status under Bill Clinton. They incorporated a tremendous amount of loan value that they acquired. They loaned us a lot in the trade agreements that we put forth. So we probably owe them roughly $200 to $250 billion a year in debt. Probably close to $2.5 to $3 trillion right now over the time period between Clinton and now. So it's significant, and we certainly want to honor that debt. But we need to arrange a different trading relationship with China. So I'm supporting a 15% ecological tariff, and this is my idea. I've had for 8 years. And when I came out with the idea, I heard wind of Donald Trump saying it should be 30%. Thank you for coming in, Sarah. That's awesome. Great time. Everyone loved the math lesson. Everyone loves math here, don't you? I bet they do. Well, we won't be able to build a wall, Rick. There won't be any wall. That's my idea. It's a fence. Donald Trump took my 1,000-mile fence idea, and because he wanted to make it original, he said he's going to make it a wall. Not because we can build a wall, because it took China 100 years to build the Great Wall of China. We're going to be building a fence when I become president. Donald Trump is going to be revealed as the person that steals ideas. And we've got proof of this all the way back 8-9 years of videotape showing me talking about all these same subjects that he's now talking about as if they're original. So, well, this has been pretty cool. We are in an extended show period. Yes, the lethal electric fence was Sarah's addition, and in 2010 she suggested we do a lethal electric fence, and I said, I see your point, as long as it's kid safe. So the kid safe, that means if anybody gets close to it, the wire ahead of them will be way more complicated to get through. It'll be razor wire, so kids can't get in and touch the electric fence and die. Well, stealing good ideas is not the kind of fabric of presidents should be made of. If you want a scumbag for your president, then I'm sure he's available. You're not going to get any real solutions from somebody like that. He's just going to copy and take and borrow, and he won't even implement solutions like my no refugee status. I'm solid on that. We won't allow refugees into the country. But Donald's already wavered on that. He's already starting to give in. Well, the Syrians have a serious problem. I see that. Yes, yes. I mean, the way he talks, it's like he's going to bend over and grab his ankles for the refugees. Don't trust anything he says. Look at what he said, no Muslims into this country, and then he's changing now for the mayor of London. We don't need to be hooked at the midriff with the city of London. This is ridiculous. The reason why that mayor became powerful is because the very thing that the city of London is doing to Britain is they're literally trying to keep them weak from within. It's a plan. It's something that they've done for centuries. By weakening borders, European borders, Germany, by allowing Turks to travel freely in the EU without any visa problems, the city of London is essentially creating a situation, a problem that only they can fix. They like it when communism is abounding because they can profit from communism. Communism is just a tool. Trump will be mixing up his ideas back and forth. You'll never have him pinned down on any one idea. He's all over the place. He claims he's the king of debt. I wouldn't claim he's Mr. Austerity too, and penny saver. I mean, this guy is going to be saying whatever it takes to get elected, no different than Adolf Hitler. I can assure you this is not what this country needs. Gold, 1268. 1720, silver dropped a little bit. But Dow Jones took a big leap to 17,928. Amazing. Big time. 1268. So gold is kind of staying normal. I mean, it's like everything's kind of in status. You know there's going to be a big environmental disaster any day now. And it'll affect everything. Yeah, people are talking about the possibility that they're going to trigger an earthquake along San Andreas Fault. That they're getting California ready for some big event. I don't know. I'm a little worried that could be true. You can move to Arizona and probably get beachfront property right now. Well, Yellowstone's a little too hot for the elitists to mess with. If they try to trigger an event in Yellowstone, they would probably create massive volcanic eruption. And if we are currently messing with the atmosphere like I think we are, we're going to be seeing a definite change in the magnetosphere, which will affect. It would trigger martial law, yes, have you? They're looking to trigger martial law. They're trying to do that. It's been a plan ever since they initiated all these executive orders. And you can see them. You can go to all the executive orders that Bush and Obama put together, and you'll see every single one is a stepping stone for global world domination, including allowing the UN to come into our country and take over our operation, which is bizarre in and of itself. Who would have ever thunk that could happen in our country? Excuse me, I've got a visitor. Hang on. Here's Johnny. David, knowing how important is the minority votes, how are your real plans with Puerto Rico? Please give a real non-repeated answer if possible. Flyman, I'm even offering statehood to Puerto Rico. At this point, we'll absolve them of any debt, write that off. Donald Trump won't commit to that. Donald Trump is mixed on this, which is really strange. Donald Trump doesn't want to commit on the issue of Puerto Rico because it's a wonderful opportunity to acquire a state. You know, a leader would have suggested such a thing. I mean, I would see Puerto Rico as a big gain. But you know something? Donald Trump doesn't want Puerto Rico to be removed of their territorialship and given statehood. He's dining from their corporate protection laws. Him and his cronies are benefiting from their non-taxable accounts. They're literally sucking the money out of that country. So he's, you know, by not giving them taxes that they deserve if they were a legitimate state, by avoiding that, these corporatists are dining from them and using this status. So I would offer Puerto Rico statehood again, as long as they did absolve them. As long as they agreed to absolve themselves of their debt, which is simple. I mean, we're acquiring a state, and they're willing to surrender their debt. That would be great. It's a win-win for them too. That's what I would take. That's my take. As far as Hawaii is concerned, I think we could possibly. I'm just throwing it out there. You can go around telling people that this third-party candidate is willing to sell Hawaii to Japan. As long as within that sale operation they assign certain islands to the Hawaiian people. That's what I would stipulate. Like Malachi. You know, Malachi is such a lovely place now that the leper colony is no longer in operation. I think there's 3 lepers there right now. I think her name was Mary Ann, and Joseph is still living there on Malachi. Mary Ann lost her fingers a couple years ago. But other than that, Malachi is a great island. We could give it back to the Hawaiians. Anyway, Hawaii itself, I don't think is a strategic advantage because we will, of course, maintain our base there in Honolulu. That'll be part of the agreement too. But I don't think it's a big strategic advantage right now. I think we need to embrace Japan, give Japan more options, because believe me, our strongest trading partner in Asia is Japan. And we could very well be a very prosperous relationship for years to come. And they pose no threat to our nation anymore. So I think Hawaii would be good. And frankly, it's something that makes sense. They had it at one time. And most of the people that own property in Hawaii are Japanese. Nope, I don't want to in any way change the nation-state relationship with our continental United States, but the external territories, I would like to do some tweaking. So we'd still have 50 states, but we would probably write off our debt to Japan in the process, and it would be a fantastic win-win for that country because they're facing massive earthquakes and the pollution, radiation coming out of Fukushima. So I almost think we should kind of work together for protecting the Pacific Ocean too. Do we have 1,000 bases? I thought we had 461 bases overseas. Where are you getting information? I don't know of 1,000 bases overseas. I know 461 bases. If you include the Diego Garcia base, yeah, 461, sure. 1,000. Where are you getting your information? Did you get that from the liberal press sheet or something? The anti-war movement liberal press sheet. By the way, we have an anti-war show on Saturday. So if you want to check out our show on Saturday, we did open it up over 2 years ago now, and it's pretty good. 6 to 9. You know, I'm not going to put a blimp on top of Air Force One, but definitely parachutes. I am surprised that Air Force One doesn't have parachutes. Or if it does, it's top secret information. I'm not privy to it. Parachutes are perfectly capable to protect a plane. None of the planes in the country really should go without parachutes. No, not necessarily escape pods, just parachutes. I mean, it makes no sense for us not to slow down the speed of a descending airline, even with one parachute. I mean, wouldn't we want to save lives, make the crash less severe? I mean, simple logic tells you that get some parachutes on our planes. Yeah, I'm serious. But you've been trained to believe, tunnel vision, I'm getting on this plane, I'm going to end up being killed. Oh no. Oh. You know, so when you go on a flight, you have no idea. You're powerless. No, parachutes would be perfect with explosive packets that would go out. Of course it's a good idea. I'm brilliant. Well, we're going to work this out. Now, Charlie Wilson told me that you live in an area with, now are these rags or what do you have wrapped around your head? Anyway, if you want to get on the conversation, I'd love to be the fly on the wall on that one. So yeah, you guys want to vote for the New World Order, hook it up. Get into that tostada. You know, I'm working on, Sarah doesn't eat as much as she used to. You know, we both kind of cutting our weight back, so I only cook when I have a need. So my goal is to And here's the lovely Sarah behind our hair. Sarah is still very on the fence when it comes to chemtrails. But she says vote ATP, Sister Sarah. No, I don't need any mercenaries for home security. No. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I have my full security system 100% intact. And there's no way anyone can actually take me out without a thermographic. I shouldn't talk about this. David, please do calorie deficient meals. I've been trying. I have, but I have an addiction to eating. It's called, hunger. Sorry. A lot of Americans are on the fence, but that's cool. Sarah kind of reminds me of a lot of Americans. We've all been on the fence for a period of time in our lives. Okay. You'd hang with those guys, really? I don't know. Ronald Reagan was a pretty fun guy. I mean, he had one heck of a personality. Don't talk about the votes right now until they're all counted. The write-in votes will be counted. If you do write my name in, you're automatically forcing a recount, which is a way to keep our politicians honest. Frankly, I think a lot of these people think they can get away with not ever being honest. And if you write my name in, you're automatically forcing them to be honest. That's right. You should do that. Some comic relief from the world's funniest comedians called ISIS. Okay, we got a video lined up for tonight. Cool. David, look. A BRS emergency parachute test. Let's check that out. Hey, Bob. Thank you. Bob, I haven't gotten back to you on your email. You'll have to just wait for a few days. I'm still absorbing a lot of information right now. Here's an actual parachute for a small plane. Look at this. Being deployed. Yay! Cool. Very nice. There's a lot of people who are working on techniques to, for dropping.
On a Wednesday morning in late winter, technicians at NASA's Langley Research Center hovered around a small helicopter sitting under a 240-foot-tall structure known as the Landing and Impact Research Facility. Inside the lightweight MD-500 chopper were 4 crash test dummies, 3 of them standard head-to-toe models, 1 a special torso equipped with simulated internal organs. Also on board, instruments that can record 160 channels of data that researchers will turn into information that may make helicopters safer.
We have accelerometers that measure the acceleration. We have video cameras that will measure the actual conditions at impact, the velocities, the attitude at impact. We also have load cells on the crash test dummies.
To do their research, engineers used cables to suspend the helicopter 35 feet in the air. Then they dropped it to simulate what they say is a relatively severe but survivable crash.
3, 2, 1, release.
The helicopter skidded to a stop after falling at a rate at about 33 miles an hour. Its body and occupants looking a lot worse for wear after an impact as high as 40 Gs.
Whoa.
We see that the skid gear swayed out and deformed. Both seats, the passenger seats and the crew seats, failed. We see some buckling. Of course, we won't be able to fully assess the damage until we take the helicopter back into the shop.
What researchers at the Hampton, Virginia facility already knew was that this helicopter was a lot more damaged than it was after a similar crash test last year. That's when engineers were testing a special honeycomb cushion called the Deployable Energy Absorber. It was attached to the underside of the MD-500. If developed further, researchers say similar technology might someday help prevent injuries.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we offer cardboard boxes? A lot cheaper. I bet that costs about $300,000 right there. I mean, foam mattresses. I mean, think of all the restores out there with old foam mattresses that could be hanging on the bottom of these planes. So what about a strap-on option too for the blimp plane? We're just trying to innovate here. You know, this is how thoughts are created. Great ideas. The blimp plane with a strap-on. That doesn't sound right for some reason. Okay. Yeah, honeycomb is high tech, man. So is cardboard. Really high tech. Okay, so let's see if we can get a small amount of strap-on material on the lower side. So when it lands, it can land softer. You like that idea? Kind of fluffy stuff. Yeah. So like a strap-on, like a little fluffy thing down here. Corrugated foam rubber. So when it lands, it can have bouncy. And we'll add that because, you know, frankly, this doesn't have to be aerodynamic. It doesn't even have to have a runway. Seriously. We don't need runways for these things. So we can add a lot to the bottom. Seriously, like a little payload, a little hammock down there. Seriously, we can carry your luggage underneath it. The whole thing can be gutted and completely, you know, you're talking about a large vehicle where, you know, say this thing is like the inside of it. You've got a potential for 2 like apartments all the way down the line. Beds, small beds, little TV set in each one. Is you got a 10-hour trip, so you got a sleeper potential. And of course the parachutes, which would defend it. Anyway, that's just a thought. Blimp plane and a strap-on undercoating. Is somebody upset about the word strap-on here? Of course, I'm trying to make it safer. Hemp foam pads, or maybe like a Depends underwear a pull-up or something. In case it has leakage. Plane has guaranteed prevention. Every room is faceted with Depends underwear for unisexual, for anyone with leakage on board. It'll be like a dispenser for those of you who are like real Humpty Dumptys that got to throw on. You say you're not, things aren't working too well for you on the trip. We will have bathrooms on board as well. I don't know about the showers or the hot tub idea. That's a little weird. Here's another one from Bob. Airline safety. This is from Russia with love. From Russia with love. Thank you, Bob. The visuals are great. Oh, this is one of these tubes that comes out. Yeah, I love it. Because the Russians are probably working on this. Airplane disaster. Chute drops out. Whoosh. And then flips. It's like dropping its load, so to speak. Love it. Thank you, Bob. Absolutely. Yeah, I saw this. This is a good one. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I was looking for earlier. Oh, they have a module that drops down into the ocean, too. With little retro jets. Bouncy, bouncy. All rights reserved. Hyperloop technology. We've got something there, too. That's something we'll talk about on Thursday, but let's see what this video looks like. We're just checking some of the... This is Truth Tuesday, dealing with the hard reality that we are constantly seeing new innovations. Trying to frame it. Hyperloop 1. Propulsion open test. Looking good. Yeah. Hey, this could happen in our lifetime, folks. Some of you who live to be 150 like myself, you'll want to drive in those. It'll be fun. I've picked 150. I could go longer. They say that there's a person being born today, or living today for that matter, who will live over 1,000 years. Isn't it amazing? Rick's going to live to 187. Well, that's why I'm trying to cut my food intake down. Air travel will be obsolete, possibly, you're right. I'm open to that. I still like my blimp plane because it uses the infrastructure of years of development. Every one of these 747s cost, oh God, I hope it's not Kissinger, I know, yeah. Every one of these 747s cost about $350 million. That's a lot of money put into our infrastructure. To get rid of them because of stress fractures, that they, many times have stress fractures, they can't fly these things. Got a perfect solution there. Yeah, it'll be Henry Kissinger singing, "In the year 2525, in the year 2525, in the year 2525, Henry Kissinger will still be alive." No, actually, Trump is not. It's not fixed yet. That the nomination has not been secured. All the Republicans need is a dynamic speaker to get out there in front of the people and talk to them and galvanize support for another person. Trump's entire race could be subverted if somebody in the Republican Party would realize he's doing a hostile takeover of his party. He's not guaranteed to win, I'm telling you. He's already violated the female vote, said a lot of bad things about women, objectifying them. He's got a lot of bad history, like all these horrible stories of tales of molesting beauty queens, raping his ex-wife. I mean, that's a lot of dirt there. This is the newest link I'm adding to... Number one, I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to copy this link to my hard drive in the cloud. No, this is really good. Yeah, don't ever trust anything on the internet. It could be gone tomorrow. I have so many links that have been copied to my hard drive in the cloud that, are you impressed? I've got a hard drive in the cloud. Yeah. But it's a way to save these copies. You don't want to lose them. This is hard evidence that he's been up to some no good hanky-panky. Yeah. No, everybody doesn't love him. Only about 20% of the population in the Republican Party is jazzed about him. Paul Ryan and others are really bummed out. The Republican Party is split right in half right now. They're waiting for somebody like me to just enter and go, I'm willing to run as a Republican if this is going to go down to the wire. The Democrats trying to seize our rights and our freedoms, pushing for gun control at a time when we should be dealing with the job issues and doing the due diligence to spark new enterprises, lowering barriers to small business growth, all these things. I would win in the GOP. I can't get there. It takes a lot to drive out there, and I'm not about to drive out there and stand out there with all the other people that are going to be rioting. I'd have to be invited. It'd take me lots of money to get out there in my bulletproof motorhome, which I don't have because I haven't bought one. I know what you're talking about, man. I don't know if I can deal with the stress. So it's a lot easier just to do the show and build a consensus around the world from here. I know a lot of you think, do a rally, dude. It's like saying, dude, why don't you go get your head blown off? I am purposely in a safe area because this is a very dangerous thing, what I do. If you don't think I need a bulletproof vehicle to travel in, you're gone. You're lost out there. Sorry, dude. Yeah. I'm marked for elimination by over 50 death threats. I've been running in all the last elections. I've been censored for 7 years, man. 7 years I've been censored. Nobody, unless you're out there proposing a third party in our website to other people online, you're not helping me, just watching me. But I know many of you are doing that, and I appreciate it. Short animation shows a beer is destructively necessary. Wow. And we will end our regular show, our extended show, on that note. Cool. I'll play that for you right after this because I don't want to get monetized. Vimeo will monetize me on YouTube. Hey, thanks everybody for coming in. Appreciate it. Obama signs executive order for possible martial law in August of 2016. This just came in. Here you go. That's a good one. Wow. Richie from Boston has this. Cool. Richie from Boston. I've seen him before. Isn't he the guy that has a flat earth? No, I don't know. But yeah, a lot of people are concerned about the growing police state. Serious. Okay, we got a bunch of videos here to watch. Thank you for those links, Bob 2012. Appreciate it. And so, same with you, all of you, including Scissor Fight. Thank you. Very good. I've got the comedy relief from PK coming up. Okay, good. They don't count votes unless you get 25,000. So I'm urging everybody to write my name in the election. I need to get a threshold of 25,000 in order to get counted. But you don't need to repeat the question. I see it. We have a cafepress.com site right now. If you go to America's Third Party, you could discover our store. I mean, guys, just look around. We've got t-shirts. We've got everything you want. If you really want to get involved, you can even go to the americasthirdparty.com site, and I'll give you the link right here. It is essentially made to order, plug and play, ready to go. You've got a variety of things to look at. You've got our poster, my poster, the Join the Voter Revolt concept. You just cut and copy that. You've got a way to volunteer here, and we do need electors in every state still. We're still bringing them in. So click on volunteer and click the elector tab, and you can put your name and email address. If you want to add anything else, you can. But these are potentially official electors. If we get over 25,000, we can actually get into the race in some states. And if we get 350 or 400,000, it's possible to take down the two parties in any one state. And if we took 34% of the vote in a three-way split, we would win it. We only need 34% to beat the other two parties. So totally doable. You can go to our tab Donate if you want to make a donation, only from American citizens. You can go to the store. And the store is where we have our t-shirts, Cafe Press stuff as well. The t-shirt is Spreadshirt, and that takes you there. You get a Legalize, a third-party t-shirt. You can get a yard sign. If you don't want to print up the poster, which I think is the easiest way, you can get a poster printed up like this for only about $1. We've got one right here. Yeah, so we've got the ability to actually, print them right up for $1 at Office Max or Office Depot or Staples. Color on cardstock. And for $2, you can go twice the size and put it on a little backing like that. That's how to get involved. And if you want to check out our site and get me on the ballot, you can go to the old site button, which is right here, and it takes you to the old site that was reconstructed from memory after we were hacked hard. We got hacked really hard in January. And that's right around the time that Trump started taking all my ideas. I'm not saying he hacked me, but I have no idea who did. But it took a long time to reconstruct this, and it's got everything, including how to get on the state ballots in every state. And you can look into it and find out our policies have been dating back to 2008, which are now, ideas like the 1,000-mile fence and other ideas that have been taken by Trump. All right, and and Scissor Fight has discovered another way to get me out there. Thank you, Scissor Fight. He's posted our platform page, which is another page on that link thing. You can just click the platform page and cut and copy it. It has the whole thing right there. Very clear. We want to end the selective service. We want to end war. We want to end the use of GMOs, fluoride in water, chemtrails, and forced vaccinations. We want to legalize marijuana, recreational use. Tort reform we support, and term limits. You don't get that from the Republicans. We support the idea of only 2 terms for senators and 4 terms for House of Representatives. And then great ideas for the future, really cutting edge stuff. You can cut and paste this whole thing and put it on Craigslist. That's a great idea. Thank you very much, Scissor Fight, for doing that. And all of you who have done that. We've got other people doing it. I don't think you guys understand that it's no longer a question of which two parties to choose from. They're both sold out. And I'm going to leave you with that thought. And I'm going to end my time here tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with Wasteful Wednesday, everybody. Thanks for coming in. We play videos all the way to 2 in the morning. If you want to stay and chat, feel free. Or not. All right. Be back tomorrow for Wasteful Wednesday. Take care.